You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Oh, there's a look at the Sawgrass Country Club across the street. That is not TPC Sawgrass. That was the home of the hate the last few days, where North Carolina ends up winning that prestigious collegiate golf tournament. And we've got some guys that have played in the college ranks that are now here at the Players Championship and ready to do battle in 2024. Hey, everybody, and welcome into the Brent and Austen Show here on a Wednesday on the eve of the Players Championship 2024. Brent Martineau here, Austen Lane back in the studios once again. We've got another beautiful day. We've got a great backdrop. We'll show you a little bit more. We are kind of in front of the practice range. We're one more practice round, and then things amp up to the real stuff starting tomorrow with the opening round tee times. We've just got a beautiful week here at TPC Sawgrass. So if you're planning on coming out, or if you were hesitating, you wondered about the forecast, well, put the shorts on, get out here and enjoy the beautiful weather, the beautiful scenery, and a little golf as the backdrop. But like I said yesterday, golf the backdrop, football a lot of the chatter, and that includes the new league year that starts in 6 hours. And 6 hours from now, it's 10:01 Austen Lane. 6 hours from now is Calvin Ridley going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
I mean, the fact that we haven't heard anything yet, I think it's leaning closer and closer. I'm not sure what the Vegas odds are saying right now, but if I was a betting man, I think it's looking pretty good, unless a team wants to come in at the last second, right before midnight, and steal him away, give him a big price contract. But, you know, according to rumors, according to reports, New England has offered him. What are they bringing to the table? Not too much. Brand new quarterback, brand new coaching staff. I think if it comes down between New England and Jacksonville, even if New England offers him a little more money, I think Jacksonville's got to be the front runner there and the favorite.
All right, let's try to figure out what's going on here, okay? Is this just to catch everybody up in case you don't know? And I don't want to assume everybody's just watching Twitter and Calvin Ridley and what's happening and all this stuff. But if we back it up, Austin, the chances of Calvin Ridley being a Jacksonville Jaguar once Monday started, very slim, right? I mean, the Jags had a chance to do a deal with Ridley before the league year started, before legal tampering started. They had two options. They could franchise tag him. They used that for Josh Allen, rightfully so, because they couldn't get a deal done with Josh Allen. Then they could have done a deal with him and forfeited a second-round pick instead of a third-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. They chose not to do that. Risky business. They let him get out there, have conversations, see what the market is, and then hope that they can get him back. So that's where we're at. But the chances of him coming back to Jacksonville, say Monday at noon or Sunday night, now that we were going to begin free agency, I mean, super low, right, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're super low. I underestimated, I guess, the market right now for the wide receiver via free agency. I always thought that, like, he would have a lot of suitors. He would take the highest bidder, or at least the bidder that made the most sense in terms of the quarterback, in terms of possibly winning a Super Bowl. But then, you know, when the rumors started coming out that only Tennessee, Carolina, and New England, and maybe a mystery team were involved, well, then your ears perked up a little more, thinking like, well, Jacksonville has those teams beat. You know, like, I like Jacksonville's chances better than Tennessee, better than Carolina, better than New England, even if they do offer him more money. So, yeah, I was kind of shocked in the terms of nobody else was really interested, at least at this point. And if that's the case, you know, and you want to do a solid to this organization, then yeah, go ahead and take your time. Let that second-round pick become a third-round pick, and then come back home.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that we've gotten to this point. So now I want to speed it up from Monday to Wednesday. You just mentioned some of it. The receiver market has not been as wild and crazy as we thought. There's been some fascinating things. T. Higgins saying, hey, I want to be traded. Justin Jefferson, could he be on the move? Some conversations about him and what the Minnesota Vikings offered him even before the season. So that situation is in flux, and the Vikings are losing a lot of star power in guys like Hunter and also Kirk Cousins already. Meanwhile, New England seemingly has been in the mix for Calvin Ridley since the outset of this legal tampering stage. The Jags, we knew, would like to get Ridley back, but they also signed Gabe Davis as an insurance policy at the very least, where it felt like that could be an or possibility instead of an and possibility with Calvin Ridley. And so we get to now where it looks like New England, at least reportedly, the national guys are saying it's New England, the Jags, and maybe another team. Kansas City frees up some money with the restructuring of Patrick Mahomes' contract. That opened the eyes last night of many Jags fans. Could they be interested in a guy like Ridley and receiver? But it's really right now the Patriots have a deal on the table according to reports. The Jags and Ridley continue to dance here. And the bottom line is, if he makes it until 4 o'clock today, the Jaguars won't have to give up that second-round pick. He could come back home to Jacksonville, where it sounds like from Cameron Wolfe and other reports around the country that he is very comfortable here and wouldn't mind playing with Trevor Lawrence again. And if it's a Patriots or Jags situation, it certainly feels from this standpoint that he would choose the Jacksonville Jaguars. As for that part of it, Austin, I don't think that is that surprising. I think we agreed with that yesterday. We talked to Calvin Ridley at the end of the year. It's not like he didn't like being here. He did not love the idea of going to learn a new offense, wherever that might be, and he would love the idea of the continuity of playing with Trevor Lawrence and in this system another year. So I guess if it is just the Patriots and the Jags, and let's just say money's equal, it does make sense that he comes back to Jacksonville. One, because of the place the Patriots are in as an organization right now. There's a lot of unknowns. But two, just based off what he said at the end of the season when he said, hey, I'm comfortable here. I like it here. But, hey, I also got to make money.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, and it feels good to say this because it's been a long time coming. The New England Patriots don't scare me. They don't scare me whatsoever. So even if, and keep in mind, you still have to play this right. You know, like you're in the home stretch here, but I don't think the deal's been done quite yet. I think New England can offer him an extra maybe $1 or $2 million a year, and he still won't go there. Because once again, learning the new playbook, new system, new coaching staff, new quarterback, there's a lot of things that if you're a veteran wide receiver, you probably don't have to go through right now. So I like the Jaguars' chances from that standpoint. New England doesn't scare me. Now, that's not to say, you know, once again, like in the 11th hour, a team doesn't come in and sneak in and say, hey, we want to give you $20-something million or a year, and maybe it's Kansas City, maybe it's New York, and then all of a sudden we're having that conversation. But where it sits right now, and I get where it sits right now is going to be different than where it sits a couple hours from now, but where it sits right now, you got to like the odds of Calvin Ridley becoming a Jacksonville Jaguar, and on top of that, only giving up a third-round pick to keep him.
All right, Austin, what does it mean if the Jaguars are able to keep Calvin Ridley? What does it mean for the Jaguars offense going into the fall, for the Jaguars organization in general, and maybe more specifically for Trent Baalke? I think there are a lot of meanings to the Ridley deal. I put a poll out there, Austin, yesterday. Poll question. Would you rather have Ridley back or use your first-round pick on a wide receiver? And, I mean, it is amazing how much the fans, I get this is social media, but it's an unofficial poll with 1,165 votes, so that's a pretty good sample. 87%, Austin, said Calvin Ridley instead of a first-round young wide receiver. I don't think they were screaming for Calvin like 2 months ago in Jacksonville, but we certainly have been, and the fan base certainly has been ever since the season ended. So what does it mean in those three areas, the offense, the organization, and specifically Trent Baalke?
Well, number one, it means for the offense that obviously your offense is kind of short up in terms of skill positions, so you're going to be okay there. The NFL draft now is going to turn more to the defense, I believe. Trent Baalke is going to breathe a sigh of relief because he didn't have to draft a wide receiver because that could have been a bad idea. So I think from the draft standpoint, more of a defensive focus. Very cool. From an organizational standpoint, obviously it's going to help Trevor Lawrence out tremendously. You bring a guy back who I think Trevor Lawrence wanted. He said in interviews that he wanted back. And another year of chemistry, another year of growth. One would expect that Calvin Ridley is going to be exponentially better than he was last year. So that's good for Trevor Lawrence, good for the entire offense. And then what was the third one? The organization, what was it? Trent Baalke.
The organization and Trent Baalke, really. I mean, because he's the guy that would have pulled this off, Austin, and obviously doesn't come with a lot of fanfare the last 2 months and really the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the roller coaster of emotions that you feel for Trent Baalke are going to be more than evident if they remain to get Calvin Ridley and only give up a third-round pick for him, because that's the ultimate finesse. That's the ultimate fleece right there, is literally letting a guy go, bring him back, and then only getting the third-round pick. Like, kind of unheard of, I feel like, in the NFL. So Trent Baalke will get his edible arrangements. Trent Baalke will get his flowers, all this stuff. Now keep in mind, Josh Allen is still out there and needs a new contract. So I'm not ready to throw the parade quite yet. I want to see that deal get done. That's going to take a while, more than likely. It's going to be a lot of money. But I don't want to see Josh Allen go on the franchise tag going into training camp. I don't want to see that. That could be a possibility. So, listen, if Calvin Ridley comes back, Trent Baalke, I salute you. Sorry for all the things I said, kinda. But once again, you weren't really paying me, so I don't care. At the same time, let's see how this draft plays out. And at the same time, let's see what happens with Josh Allen as well.
Yeah, listen, I think let's go with Baalke first. I'm going to take these three and evolve them a little bit more because the Baalke thing's fascinating to me. Obviously, we know what it is. We know what it's been. We know the angst of the fan base, at least the social media, the vocal fan base in Jacksonville, not big fans of Trent Baalke. But if you really look at what he is able to do in these last couple of days, and again, they're going to keep Josh Allen. They've got Josh Allen obviously under contract. I think they're going to extend Josh Allen. I'm going to assume that happens at some point. They also are able to really maneuver the salary cap and get some good signings and be more active than any of us thought they could be in free agency. And then they're able to pull off keeping Calvin Ridley and not giving up that second-round pick and earning the trust of Ridley in this organization and in this offense. And two things stick out to me, Austin, when it comes to Baalke in that respect. We've been critical in a couple of spots of him. One, relationships. Is he a relationship guy? Relationships matter in all walks of life, but especially when you're trying to extend these guys, bring these guys back, show loyalty, all those things. We're curious about that. From the very point when he got up 3 weeks after the season, said, I haven't talked to Josh Allen's camp yet, to other things over the last couple of years. Well, to me, if they're able to bring Ridley back, when we were at the Combine and we asked Trent Baalke about Ridley, he said, yeah, we just had a meeting in our office a couple of days ago. And in my mind, I was like, wow, okay, there's a good relationship right there. They're keeping the dialogue going, trying to be as transparent as possible about what could take place. To me, that shows, heck, they were able to keep this relationship with Ridley to the point where this was a welcoming place and a place that he'd want to come back to. The other side of it is I wasn't totally sure how good Baalke was at managing some of this cap stuff or the trade stuff, etc. Well, we liked the trade for Ridley when it was made. We didn't like it if you lost him for a third and a fifth pick and a one-year rental. He could come up roses on both fronts there, and then the maneuverability of the cap and the signings and the upgrade at center and the sheriff kind of reworking of the deal, I think makes Baalke and his front office and the staff look really good at what they're able to do to make everything that has transpired this week, again, if they can cap it off with a Ridley signing at 401. So I think there's a lot of deep meaning to it just from a Baalke standpoint, Austin.
No, there's definitely a lot of deep meaning to it. And if he comes out of this with Calvin Ridley and give up a third-round pick, like, yeah, the people, like I said, are going to give him his flowers, and that's fantastic. He's earned that. I mean, the way he's been able to finesse the free agency has been great because what we've talked about. You got to take care of Trevor Lawrence. Well, you got your center. We celebrated. You bring back Calvin Ridley. We'll celebrate. You got Gabe Davis. That could be an interesting piece. There's a lot to like right now. But there's two parts to this, and there's two parts to being a GM. There's free agency, and there's the draft. And I think right now there'll be a lot of hype and there'll be a lot of thankfulness of Trent Baalke of what he's able to do in free agency. But I still feel like Jaguars fans are going to be like, all right, you did get in free agency. You know, you got who you got. You paid some money. What can you do in the draft now?
Yeah, and you're right, by the way. That's two different elements, and that's the next wave. But I would say this. Coming off all the negativity and kind of toxicity of the last couple of months since the Jaguars lost 5 out of 6 games, to have a good feeling in town, potentially by 4 o'clock today, hopefully, and the fan base kind of feel a little positive momentum, I think that at least gives you some hope going into the draft now that the Jags can get that right. This is another part of the story maybe, is everybody's like, well, you win in the offseason. You can't win the regular season, win the offseason. Everybody looks at that as a negative thing. But the bottom line is, I can feel you, Jacksonville, right now. I can feel Jags fans. You want to win the offseason this week. And right now you feel like you're doing some of that. So I think that is important for the fan base and the feeling to kind of bounce back from what happened late in the year with the Jaguars losing 5 out of 6. And we know they still have to get it done on the field. That's coming up down the road. But you got to take care of one thing at a time. The other thing I mentioned, Austin, is the organization. The Jaguars potentially, if they get Ridley back, and this is why I think it says a lot, is that you might outdo the New England Patriots, who've been one of the premier organizations of the last couple of decades, really in all of sports. I think that speaks for itself, but it would also be a nice little feather in the cap. I'm also seeing Mitch Morse, the center, this morning. He was talking to the media, and he said one of the big reasons he came to Jacksonville was because of Doug Peterson. And Peterson, I think, has had that impact over the last couple of years since he's been here. People want to play for him. People want to come play for him. This is a guy that played for Doug back in Kansas City when Doug was the offensive coordinator. But again, these kind of things, these kind of feelings, I think, Austin, put the organization in a positive light. And that hasn't always been the case here in Jacksonville.
No, bad optics have been a thing for this organization for a long time. And when you hear players that want to come play in Jacksonville, when you hear Gabe Davis took the deal over the Chicago Bears to come to Jacksonville, when you hear possibly, once again, we'll see when the ink reaches the paper, that Calvin Ridley picked, Jacksonville over New England. I mean, it's something to celebrate. It's something to put your head up and say, you know what? Maybe times are changing a little bit. Now, I'm not ready to say, hey, Chicago and New England are two prime destinations right now in terms of free agency, because let's be honest, they're not. What's going to happen in Chicago with their quarterback? I don't think they even know quite yet. New England, they're doing a complete rehaul right now. So, while it's a good sign and showing, hey, these guys picked those teams over Jacksonville, let's keep in mind who these teams are that they picked over.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Hey, we're going to get to a break early here on Wednesday. It's really not early. We're already 17 minutes into this thing, and we're just getting rolling. The Calvin Ridley watch really is the story today, no doubt about it. Mitch Morse did talk to the media earlier today, and I do want to evolve one more thing that Austin's already commented on, but I ask is, how does this offense look with a Ridley and a Gabe Davis and a Kirk, and obviously the unknown here will be the Zay Jones and potentially what you draft if you draft anybody at wide receiver. So how different does the offense look here in Jacksonville pending the outcome of whatever Ridley chooses and how this shakes out as soon as today at 4:01. We are live from the Players' Championship, TPC Sawgrass, and we are just getting warmed up on a big day here to keep an eye on the new league year starting in the NFL. TPC Sawgrass, beautiful week. Come on out. We'll see you in Ponte Vedra all week long. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the Pro Shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Thank you for making Action News Jacks the best in Jacks and Folio's Best of Jacks 2023. Best TV station, best TV newscast, best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, best news website and best local blog, the Burrish blog. Thank you for making Action News Jacks local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia, and Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Well, welcome back to TPC Sawgrass. I'm trying to get a feel of where this is. That is a super tight shot of, I think, the 17th hole replica.
Wow.
Okay, get us back out here, Hamby. I don't know. What is that? What are we showing, Hamby? Are we previewing any of this video? This just goes along with what I'm about to say about our Action Sports Jacks department right now, Austen Lane.
Was that like a
I
storage
think we're in
warehouse at a Home
shambles.
Depot? I don't know what that was.
I don't know what. I think sometimes when Hamby, by the way, doing a great job. He just got back from
This
Costa
is what
Rica.
it was right here.
So he's like, oh, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be, but you were too zoomed in on the video, I believe. Poor lady who we like.
Oh, wow, getting right up my kid's
very
face.
close to.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, are we looking at these shots? Like, what are we doing here?
Right, it's
like,
okay,
Weber,
man. Come on.
Weber took those shots. Like, Weber took those. There's no way he took that shot of just like the tent. But you know what, Austin? It might be. It might be the Action Sports Jacks department over the last 24 hours has had some issues.
Okay.
All right.
Hit me with them. Let's go.
I'm going to get the dirty laundry out. So,
Okay.
speaking
careful
of laundry,
now. Just be careful.
No, I don't care. I don't care. I got to call 2 minutes before the show. 2 minutes before this show. All right? Mm-hmm. Marcel Robinson is out doing a tour today of like PGA Tour entertainment, how they put everything together. It's a pretty cool operation. And so he was doing something. And they're building like a whole new thing. So he's going to get this story at like 10 a.m. It's 9:58, Austin. We're about to go on, okay? And it's 9:58, and the thing's at 10. He's gathered at the clubhouse. They're going to shuttle them all out there. And he says, now, I will give him credit here. He says, this is going to be the strangest request you've maybe ever had.
Hit me with it.
And I was like, great. This is going to be fun. He says, can I come over there? I have shorts on, and we're going to need pants for the construction part of the tour, and I didn't realize it. Can I come over there and change out your pants for my shorts?
What?
I mean, what are we doing?
I mean, that's a
He
lot
wants
of comfortability
He wants me
right
here
there.
at TPC Sawgrass in this tent while golfers are prepping for one of the biggest golf tournaments in the world.
Yeah.
To just strip down to my underoos, which, by the way, unlike the Atlanta trip from a couple of years on, I do have on.
Nice.
And cherried out shorts. We don't even know if my pants are going to fit him. He probably would look like he's got like knickers on. He's taller than me by like 4 inches.
Knickers.
Capris, there you go.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I mean, that works too.
Hey, we're golfing, knickers.
Hey, let me ask you this though. What kind of construct? Get a little sawdust on your calves. It's gonna be okay. Like, what is he worried about? Where you have to wear pants for this construction thing?
Well, it's not him. I think it's have. If you're gonna put the hard hat on and stuff like that, I think they make him do it. But I don't know if he just didn't know that. I didn't see that. I didn't read the fine print either. But I mean, so you're coming over here in shorts, like I get it. But it was like, how are we going to do this? Number one, I'm not sure I would have done it anyway. Number two, how am I supposed to do this like 2 minutes before the show? And number three, your thing starts in like 2 minutes. So how are you going to do it?
Good
and
point.
still get there?
Time management,
It was
Brent.
the craziest
Time management. Tom Coughlin would have lost his mind.
So then we got here's a different one. Now, this is nobody's fault. Well, I guess it probably is Weber's fault at the end of the day. So Weber's going to get flag football, our game of the week, which we'll show you more on Action Sports Jax Primetime on Saturday. And it's Paxson against Reigns. So I want to take you through our group chat last night.
Okay.
As I was, by the way, watching a baseball game, so I was of no help. First of all, Weber got to the JV game instead of the varsity game, so he had to sit around and wait on that. So you tell me how Weber's night's going. He can't wait to get to his honeymoon on Monday after this Players' Championship when he goes around the world.
So, hang on, though.
But he says,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so he got to the JV game because he was too early? Or like, how did that come about?
Yeah, it's too early. Like, they showed like I think Max Preps had it like a 6 o'clock start, but it was really a JV start, and then a varsity start at like 7:15. So we ran into that situation, and then he said at 8:50. So this is 8:50. He's been at flag football now for like 3 hours. Possible situation. Car key for the Element appears to have fallen out of my pocket here at Reigns. Searching now, but wanted to keep you all posted.
First of all, didn't appear to do anything. Either it did or it didn't. Don't make it sound like it jumped out of your pocket by itself.
So then Marcel, kind soul that Marcel is, he said, "You searching solo? If you can't find it and need a ride back, let me know." He said,
Nice.
"I've got 3 or 4
teammate.
helpers." Yeah, good teammate. I got 3 or 4 helpers, Weber says. And then a couple minutes later, he's like, "I'm going to need that ride back." And so Marcel says, "I'm on the way." And then Weber says, "Cancel that. I found it." He's like, Marcel says, "All right, I'm heading back home."
Nice.
It gets better. Weber then says, "Hang on. Now the battery won't start. Holy bleep."
What? Okay.
So in the end, he actually had to get a jump from the Reigns coach, get the car started, found the key, got back by himself, and all is good in the world, other than the fact that Marcel Robinson needs my pants because his shorts won't work. That's what's going on in the Action Sports Jax apartment. So, by the way, Hamby, can we just get video that looks right when we run the bump?
Oh, wow. Calling on Hamby. Hey, welcome back from vacation, Hamby. It's good to have you back. There we go. There's some.
Here we go.
There we go, Hamby. There you go. Now, that's a
I'm sorry,
good
Stuart.
bump
I'm
shot.
sorry. Stuart had a heck of a
blue
shot.
being
and
worn today, huh?
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing blue. What's going on with this?
See,
You weren't
my
supposed to
guess
see the
is
tight white
sometimes,
fences.
yes, sometimes it
were
wasn't
supposed
either.
to see this
Was it
little
a
kid.
different
Oh,
video?
that kid who ripped one. There you go, kid.
There we go. There we go.
Hefty
We're
lefty,
taking
I
you
like it,
behind
man.
the scenes, folks.
He likes it.
Welcome to the world.
Hey,
My,
Brent, real
my
quick.
guess is the aspect ratio was off there for Hamby as he's back from his trip to Costa Rica.
100%.
Brent, quick question for you. So in terms of Stewart and the whole key debacle, is he telling the truth, or did he actually leave the key in the car with the car running, like that's why the battery died?
You know, that's a really good story. I did wonder how all that came together, and why would the battery have been dead?
Left the keys in the car, didn't turn it off. There you go. Case closed, everybody. Stuart, I'm on to you.
All right,
no
let's
need
get
to
back
call
to some-
NCIS. There's no need to call CSI or anything. Austen Lane cracked the case in 5 minutes. Left the keys in the car. Didn't know where they were. Found the keys. Was happy. Then the car wouldn't start because left the keys in the car. Boom.
It's only Wednesday here at the Players' Championship, folks. It's going to be a long week for the Action Sports Shacks department, but we're glad to be able to take you behind the scenes and tell you everything what's going on. It is a reality show here for us. We do love our team. They are awesome most of the time. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, Brent and Austin Show. Let's get back to the football side of things. Mitch Morse just spoke to the media within the last hour, obviously the new center, which has people excited. This is really the domino that started to fall for the Jacksonville Jaguars early on Monday. They had already had the trade for Mac Jones, but then everybody's like, okay, upgrade at center. I feel a lot better before some of the other moves started to happen. Here's a very quick reaction from Mitch Morse this morning at Jags headquarters.
What's going on, guys? This is Mitch Morse. I just got in, signed my contract. Super excited to work with the team, get to know the guys, and hopefully bring a championship to Duval County here soon. All right, guys, be good. Take care.
Well, there he is, Mitch Morse, the new center of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seemed like a pretty good deal. Everybody thinks it's an upgrade. I like the veteran nature of it. Austin brought up the leadership ability. He's a captain. They brought up Gabe Davis, too, also was a captain from Buffalo. So they rate a team that actually has had a bunch of success over the last handful of years. My bigger question, and I morph the Morse part of this into the Calvin Ridley potential part of this, Austin, with the Gabe Davis addition. How different does the Jaguars offense look in 2024? Like, what do you think now? Because there are a lot of guys back. I mean, if you look at the starting 11, my guess is you're going to have 8 out of 11 starters back. Actually, 9 out of 11 if Ridley is part of that equation. Really, the only difference will be the Buffalo guys, Morse and Gabe Davis.
Yeah, and you feel like those guys, I mean, they're not young by any means. Obviously, they're experienced, so you think they can come in right away, not expect any dumb penalties or anything like that. What do I expect from this offense? I mean, there's still a lot of storylines to be had, Calvin Ridley being one of them, but also who's calling the plays. You know, I think if Doug's calling the plays, it could look different than Press Taylor calling the plays. So there's still some question marks that left, that remain to be answered, but I expect a better offense with better continuity, less mistakes, less mental mistakes, and just a cleaner version of what we were expecting to see last year that we didn't really get.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, is that good enough, right? I mean, not everybody liked the idea that the Jags were running it back a year ago with much of their same roster. It didn't really pan out for them, even with the addition of Calvin Ridley, which you would have thought, hey, coming off 2022, you add Calvin Ridley to the mix. How can't you get excited about that? We did, you did, everybody did. Even inside Jags headquarters, it didn't really work out. They missed many opportunities. They battled more injuries, of course, and they didn't produce to the degree anybody thought, or even to the degree that they produced in 2022, if you look at some of the numbers. So is it okay to assume that Anton Harrison is going to be better, that Ezra Cleveland will fill a big void at left guard that they didn't have, that Morse will help that interior of the offensive line? that Etienne and Tank Bigsby will take a step, helping spell Travis Etienne. They do have Dearness Johnson back as well. Ingram, I can't imagine he does what he did last year, but they might not need him to do that much. A healthy Kirk should absolutely help if he can stay healthy for 17 games. And then, of course, Ridley in year 2. I guess we're just banking on some of that continuity, development, take another step, and stay healthy, Austin, to see exactly what this offense can do.
Without a doubt, but also keep in mind there's still kind of a big caveat that remains to be seen as well, and that's the left tackle position. Are they going to go with Cam Robinson? Do they release Cam Robinson? Is Walker Little taking that spot? Do you move Anton Harrison from the right to the left, put Walker Little to the right? That's still a big cog, too, that has to fall into place in terms of how this whole machine's going to run. But once again, I hope they do that sooner rather than later, because I want guys with their positions already known, right? I don't want to go into training camp thinking all right, let's have a battle here. It might be Cam Robinson, it might be Walker Little. Can move Walker Little to the right, Anton Harrison to the left. No, let's identify guys' positions right now, where they stand on the depth chart. I get the whole point of training camp and spring ball is to help push players, maybe elevate from the second string to a first string. But I want roles identified right now going into that scenario.
Yeah, that makes some sense to me. I think you brought something up that I don't want to just brush by 2 comments ago. You said, is Doug Peterson going to call plays, right? I mean, that could be the biggest boost of all for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, I don't take this the way maybe the fans do, like press Taylor, press Taylor, press Taylor. I take this as, no, Doug's good at it. Doug's your best option at it. Those are the things you want to do from a playing standpoint. You want to get the best options out there, the best players out there in the right positions. Well, I want to do the same thing from a coaching standpoint here. Doug's a better play caller. He's one of the better play callers in the National Football League. Can he take those duties over? Will he do that? Will he do what I think is right for the organization and take that power back and make this offense get to the next level? Then there's another side of this, Austin, as well, which we really haven't talked about. But we need to continue to see development and that next step. And let's just be as honest as we can, the best year yet, front to back, from Trevor Lawrence going into year number 4 as the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's going to be the Doug Peterson. That's going to be a big story to follow. I don't want to play the devil's advocate here, but if I'm trying to defend Doug in the fact that he hasn't been calling the plays in the past, even though he is the best suited to do that, it could be from the fact of he doesn't want to do it, just from the standpoint of he feels like he needs to be more of the cultural leader. He's got to be in the locker room, kind of, maybe, I don't want to say putting out fires, but, doing other things that head coaches do, set aside from focusing all your time and effort and energy into game planning against the defense. So what I see from this free agency, you're bringing in some veterans, right? Mitch Morse played for Doug Peterson before. Gabe Davis, a captain in his own right. Maybe you brought in some more guys that can help exemplify what you're trying to do in terms of your culture. Those players can help exemplify that, and it takes some weight off of your back, and then you can focus more on calling the plays and things like that. Let's not get it twisted here. Doug knows he's the better play caller. We all do. If we know it, Doug knows it. There's a reason why he doesn't want to call the plays, whether he doesn't feel like it or he feels like his time, effort, and energy need to go someplace else. Whatever the case may be, if Press Taylor is calling the plays again this year, it's simply because, Doug Peterson said, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you for whatever reason. I mean, listen, I get he would shape this as this is what's in the best interest of the organization. My mind can be on other things. I can help with the culture and the game day stuff and everything else a little bit more. I'm not going to sit here and call Doug a liar. He feels what he feels. I just don't feel that way. So I just don't think that's the right play. I can't get there. I think it's a hard thing. I think he's way more valuable, actually, and not to knock him as a head coach. I think he's a good head coach. I think he actually does a really good job of balancing all that stuff. He doesn't look flustered. He doesn't look overwhelmed. I just think he's a really good play caller. And when your offense set you back last year and did not even come close to getting to expectations, I think it's time to really make that change and the best interest of your quarterback and your football team. So there's a lot of reasons why I think Doug Peterson should pick play calling over these other things that could enter the fray in the conversation. I get that he has trust in Press Taylor. I don't even mind Press Taylor as much as everybody else. This is all about Give me the best guy for the job in this role, and I think Doug certainly fits that. I think that's why Andy Reid calls plays in Kansas City, because that fits that as well. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Brent and Austin Show. Calvin Ridley decision could come as soon as 4 o'clock today. Could he sign back with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Many reports that now think that he's expected to do that. This waiting game certainly would indicate that that could happen. One other thing about the offense. Play Madden with me here for a second, Austin. What does this offense look like from a just a lining up standpoint with Calvin, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, and I guess you could even throw Evan Ingram out there because he's going to stand up and run routes most of the time anyway. You can use his versatility, but he's on the field a bunch. So how does that kind of lineup look? How do they utilize those skill sets to make it very difficult for defenses to game plan?
I think Calvin Ridley had some of his best showings when a guy like Zay Jones is in there to take the top off, right? And if you have a guy that can take the top off, defenses have to respect that. That, to me, is where Gabe Davis comes in, right? So you have a guy who can run those posts, can run those corners, can run those flies, and take the top off. That makes Calvin Ridley's job a lot easier now because he doesn't have to be that guy all the time. He can be the guy more on the mid routes, more in the middle, relying more on his quickness, athleticism to get open, which he can definitely do. Obviously, Christian Kirk, you know what you're getting there. When he's healthy out of the slot, one of the best guys in the NFL right now to do it, I think. So you have 3 guys at 3 levels that can make plays. Oh, and by the way, you have Evan Ingram, who was probably the best fantasy tight end overall in the NFL this past season, who's a reception monster, who's kind of that big target, kind of the fail-safe for Trevor Lawrence. And you have Travis Etienne, who, when he's on, can catch the ball as well. So you have guys at every level that can be weapons. And I think from Trevor Lawrence's standpoint, that's going to be a big thing for him. I think from an offensive play calling standpoint, you have a lot of options now. And if I'm a defense and I'm trying to game plan for the Jacksonville Jaguars now, like, all right, well, we got to stop Travis Etienne. We got to stop the run. We can't let Gabe Davis beat us deep. Now we got Calvin Ridley to worry about. Well, that's right. They have Christian Kirk as well. Oh, and Evan Ingram. That's going to be a lot to handle. So you can't really just key in on one person with some offenses you can. This isn't one of those offenses. So I think you have a slew of weapons that I can't wait to see utilized. Now it's just calling the right plays and making sure that everyone's on the same page. No drop balls, no routes being ran the wrong way, and no stupid penalties.
Yeah, there's 2 thoughts about what you just said. One is I cautioned everybody to get overly excited about the Jags' weaponry on offense because we did last year too. I mean, listen, when Calvin Ridley was coming on board, I know there was a little bit of a hesitation. Can he get back into the fold as quick as you want? But still, what would this offense look like halfway through the year? Well, Zay Jones banged up the entire season. The interior of the offensive line taking away the run game, and Christian Kirk banged up down the stretch of the season. And I know there's a lot of things you can't control there, but it certainly did not live up to the expectation and some of the things that you would see on paper and could visualize in your mind. I get what Austin's saying here. Yeah, you can visualize all those things. There's a lot of cool traits. There's a lot of cool things you can do. But the bottom line is they got to stay healthy and then go do it. The other thought I have here, Austin, is we had Orlovsky on right around that Monday Night Football time. And I remember talking to him about Doug, and he had said something that was pretty interesting to me. He thinks Doug, as he looked at him on tape and looked at the Jags offense, it was hard to, and I don't think people are going to think about this, but hard to predict exactly what he was going to do. He can run a lot of different things from similar formations. He'll throw a new wrinkle in here. And so they had that unpredictable nature. That's what I think when you get a bunch of skill guys together, when you have a lot of talent on offense. When Andy Reid had that Kansas City offense a few years ago, and you get these guys that have good minds and creativity, and they're unpredictable. You don't know what they'll do next. I think that's why people like Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins this year so much. It really can be fun for those guys, right? I mean, doesn't it like I always say, those guys must have trouble sleeping at night because you're probably drawing up plays in your mind like, okay, how are we going to use this guy? And I think that's one thing the Jaguars will have. Again, mostly if Doug calls plays, but either way, offensively, they should be able to draw some things in the dirt that could be pretty fun.
No, absolutely. And when Doug Peterson has called plays in the past, that's been a calling card. He's been the guy that's kind of had some of those backyard football plays a little bit. A lot of motion, a lot of keeping the defenses on their toes. And when you have these dynamic guys, when you have a wide receiver room that can do a lot of things, you'd be stupid not to be dynamic. You'd be stupid not to throw the kitchen sink. at teams and keep them guessing. You know, like, I get it. There comes a point, and he kind of mentioned this too a little bit, where you want to simplify things, simplify the playbook, keep it basic. And maybe that was more of a thing with Calvin Ridley being his first year back, 2 years out of the league, you know, trying to acclimate again. But, man, if you have this many weapons, you got to keep things spicy. You got to keep things dynamic. And I don't simplify anything. I make things more complicated. Let them learn. You know, I mean, if you have to take a practice day and, hey, guess what, guys, we're going inside, going over this playbook, so be it then. Forget trying to practice in 90-degree heat during training camp. Just study the playbook. That's all I'm concerned about right now.
Well, that's an interesting thought also, and run the ball. I mean, listen, there was an element that they could not run the ball at times when they wanted to run the ball, and when you can't do that, you lose a little piece of your offense. I don't care what you say about Press Taylor or anybody else. If you can't do that with your interior, you obviously take things out of the equation for your offense. Let's take a time out here at the Players' Championship, TPC Sawgrass. Beautiful day once again. Final round of the practice round. Final practice round, that is, before competition begins on Thursday, and tee times will start early in the morning. Gates been open at 7:30 in the morning. Enjoy the nice crisp weather in the morning, and then it heats up. You better bring layers, because you'll want to, well, definitely lose that coat or sweatshirt or whatever else. And, I guess you could buy some layers. Maybe we should have sent Marcel Robinson inside the fan shop to get a pair of pants this morning. Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community, providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology, with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah.
Make friends.
Yeah.
Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy.
At the Stadium Course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, there's the 17th hole. That's where the party will be all week long, and especially on Friday afternoon. I was talking to somebody earlier about this. It was with Rich Jones, actually, at WOKV. This tournament really has a different feel each and every day, from the practice rounds to, okay, things really start to get serious on Thursday for the golfers, a different tone, and then Friday it's just a party into Saturday. But then Saturday late into Sunday feel almost like a major golf tournament because this is such a prestigious event. So really fun. The different views and angles, not just watching, but also what this golf tournament means. The 50th Players Championship here at TPC Sawgrass. Brent Martineau live here. Austen Lane back in the Action Sports Shack studios. The Brent and Austin Show. Jason Hamby along as well, back from a little vacation. Austin, you look like you can't wait to talk about wrestling since I've mentioned golf a few times.
Well, yeah, you're talking about fun to watch, Brent. It's going to be fun to watch tonight. AEW Big Business taking place in Boston. Going to feature Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, going to make her AEW appearance tonight. Well, supposedly. I mean, they pretty much teased that she's going to. Let me ask you this, Brent, quick, though. Just you're kind of in the business of, dropping some teases and things like that. Would you prefer, and this is obviously Tony Khan's decision, would you rather just say, hey, we're going to be in Boston and then have her show up with nobody knowing, as a giant surprise? Or do we kind of live in the times now of social media and everything where, things get leaked, where you kind of tease it a little bit like she's going to be there, she's going to be there, so then people might want to tune in a little more to watch?
Yeah, I think I'd be in the leaking business and get people talking about it. I think the buzz and the build-up, because then there's this. You know this. I think once you build it up a little bit, right, I think there's the old FOMO takes place in today's world. Like you want to – I think that's a way to capture the casuals, too, not just the diehards. The diehards probably going to be there, but I think anytime you can kind of poke the bear a little bit, suggest something, then everybody's going to come and see and find out. Now, they might be a little bit disappointed if it doesn't happen, but if you know it's happening, you leak it out there, then they're going to be like, oh, what's up? So I think if you have something especially that can transcend a little bit and pull people in that maybe aren't always the diehards, I think leaking out in this day and age is really a good idea. But I think it's a delicate balance. It's probably a gift to be able to do that. And what is the balance without giving up the story, teasing enough to get people talking about it on all the different platforms and then get them to show up and be there?
Yeah, I mean, and I guess there really is no right or wrong answer. I think of what WWE did with CM Punk, where he made his debut in Chicago, there was rumors saying he might be there or he might not, but they never really announced anything, right? So when he showed up at the end of the pay-per-view, everybody went nuts, and it was like the trending topic for a couple of days because like no one really saw it coming. So I think there's an element when you're surprised, it also adds to it. But I understand if it's not going to be a pay-per-view, it's going to be like a regular, AEW Dynamite. You want to get that viewership up, so you do want to tease and be like, hey, she's going to be here, so tune in and watch and see what happens.
Well, we will see on that front. We do have Aaron Rodgers potentially running for vice president. Are you laughing?
Yeah, for sure. I was laughing. The segue, man, was beautiful. I love it. We go from Mercedes Moné to Aaron Rodgers now.
I didn't know if you were actually. I actually brought it up because I was like, is he laughing because Brent didn't have any idea how to tease that or get to it of where to go next? Or so I'm just going here next because that was kind of what was going on in my mind. Since we just forget the fourth wall, man. It is there. It's open. We don't have a wall. We're just going to continue to tell everything. But Aaron Rodgers, we don't have enough time right now. This is a short segment, but we'll get to the Aaron Rodgers stuff, which is just nuts to me, but also wild and fascinating. And thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for continuing to give everybody so much material. Hamby, I want you to jump in here. How was the vacation, man? You broke away to Costa Rica, I think it was, right? Do I have that right? Do I keep saying Costa Rica? Is that where you were?
Yeah. I was in Costa Rica, and you can probably tell, though it's pretty bright.
A little tan?
Got a little tan.
A little tan action.
Little maple syrupy brown action going on there. Good for you.
Yes, sir.
Maple syrupy brown.
Yeah, man.
Maple syrup.
Yeah. So did you surf or what? You said you didn't surf, but it's good surfing down there, I think, right?
Yes, it's good surfing. We didn't, but I mean, I don't count body surfing at all, but we spent like hours and hours and hours just at the beach and zip line and stuff like that, and just my screen time was about 8 minutes a day for the 3 or 4 days I was there, so it was solid.
Cool.
Wow.
So just
Good
beach
for you.
and zip line, huh? Things you can do in Jacksonville, but okay. Sounds great.
I mean,
literally could have just went to Jacksonville and did the same thing, but okay.
Broke out my Spanish and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I got you.
Of course, by the way, they must not have any cell service. You only had 8 minutes of screen time, so there's too much cell service in Jacksonville, Austin, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I didn't have cell service at all.
Hammy, why Costa Rica, though? Was it your decision? Did you take the missus? What went into the whole decision to go to Costa Rica?
Yeah, the missus has family friends that own a condo down there.
Timeshare.
They invited us down, so we stayed with them.
Smart kid.
Yeah, it was great.
No, Hamby, did you sign anything? You're not in a timeshare, are you?
No,
okay.
no papers were signed. No documents.
That's how they get you. Hey, I have a friend. You bring your friends down. Next thing you know, you're a 3-year commitment, paying far out the butt for something you didn't even want. Yeah, man, it happens.
But it was
By
crazy.
the way,
I hopped on.
You get a free zip line if you go there and take the tour.
Zip line.
Y'all are unreal.
Hamby, it happens, man. We're trying to help you out.
It's true. No, but I hopped on
real
yesterday.
world stuff, man.
And I hopped on yesterday to Twitter, and I see all the signings. I was like, holy cow. Like, I didn't expect, I expected 1 or 2, but not 4 or 5 guys, especially like the DuVernay, the Darnell Savage, the who was the corner?
Darby.
Darby, yeah. I like Darby a lot. He's been around a long time. A lot of veteran guys. I was just really surprised to see all those, because on my timeline it's back to back to back. Obviously for y'all it was, hours in between a lot of those, but pleasantly surprised to say the least.
Yeah, I think a lot of Jags fans are, and will they be that way again with Calvin Ridley potentially coming up later today at 4 o'clock? And by the way, we say 4 o'clock, like we're assuming it would be announced like right after 4 o'clock. We have no idea. I mean, it could linger even more than that. Maybe he takes more time. I mean, Austin suggested this really for Calvin Ridley's camp for a while. It's like, hey, what's the rush? Feel this thing out, see if you can grow the number. There really is no rush. I mean, he can keep the Patriots and the Jags waiting and maybe another team and let them get in the mix and think about it a bit more. So we'll see how that unveils itself. All right, take a break.
Brent,
when we come back,
quick.
Aaron
Hang on,
Rodgers.
Sorry. Brent, no, you had a really great point real quick with Calvin Ridley. Do you think it would benefit him to actually wait till after the draft?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that long. Yeah, I don't think that long. I think the more you kind of let people try to fix like a Patrick Mahomes contract right now with the restructure, right? Or like the Jags are an example of this, although it's different right now. Like, let's just say there was another team that was working out a deal with a guy like Josh Allen and could push money down the road. If they signed Josh Allen in the next couple of days, that would free money up for a guy like Calvin Ridley. So I think those kind of situations. I think the one thing you got to be careful of, actually, Austin, is the draft. The problem why the receiver market right now isn't as robust as we thought it was going to be, we think, is because the draft is deep and you can get talent at a younger, cheaper price in the draft. So yeah, I would not wait that long. And you want to get into a camp and you want to get wherever you're going to go. And in April, I would think, to kind of get around your guys. So yeah, it's a good thought. I just don't think it fits in his case this time. I don't think he has that much power in this situation. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. 11 o'clock hour underway here on our Action Sports. Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and Mini, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah. All right.
Make friends. Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Playday campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy.
At the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, tacos on 12. That's a good spot. And not just a spot for tacos and food and everything else. That obviously is for one reason. But I love 12 and 13 to watch the golf tournament. If you like seeing golf, you can just get a ticket into that venue, and you can watch a lot of it. The 12th hole is a short par 4, very exciting, and obviously the 13th a par 3. So a lot of good reasons to go to that side of the golf course. I think this tournament's done a great job getting people spread out across the golf course, and if you haven't been to that side of it, well, you are missing out. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane, the Brent and Austin Show, here on a Wednesday at the Players' Championship. Just another beautiful day. We'll continue to peek in on some of the golf. In fact, Hamby, I think Liv might be trying to show us in a little bit Scotty Scheffler and Miles Russell. If we get a chance to show that, just let us know, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that story because it's a pretty cool story going on today, and we'll have it for you later tonight on our Action Sports Jax at the Players coverage each and every night, 11:15 on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Austen Lane, what is going on with Aaron Rodgers? Vice President of the United States of America? Aaron Rodgers? I mean, have we reached a crazy point of stardom in our sports world where now Aaron Rodgers might be on a ticket?
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers saw Taylor Swift get all the love and say, hey, Taylor Swift, go ahead and take a back seat because I'm about to run for president here. And now Aaron Rodgers is the talk of the town. I don't know. I mean, what are we doing? You know, like, number one, you're still the quarterback of the New York Jets, so do that and do it well, I guess. They're paying you money to do that. Don't
a lot of money, by the way,
president.
more than the president or vice presidency.
Yeah, and I feel like your teammates are depending on you, so don't become a vice president right now. And why would you want to do that? I don't know. It's wild to me, but I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know what he's thinking. I guess it's the whole, trying to make a difference and all that good thing, but come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know how to take this stuff. I guess it's serious. Like, this isn't just fodder, right? I mean, this is serious overtures and conversations. I think Jesse Ventura, speaking of wrestling, but obviously this is a guy that has been in the political landscape, also could be on that ticket. Undecided right now with Kennedy and what he's going to do. But this is not like a joke. I mean, it feels like a joke, but it's not.
Well, and listen, and Jesse Ventura, former professional wrestler, actor. I mean, fantastic in the movie Predator, man. Can't get enough of Jesse with the body Ventura. At least he has experience. Like he was the governor of Minnesota for a while, and some say he did a pretty decent job at that. You just can't go on the Joe Rogan podcast, Aaron Rodgers, and become a vice president the next day. It's not how this works. All right, well, I guess it's kind of how it works because a former president kind of just showed up. So yeah, scratch that. Do it then, Aaron Rodgers. Who am I to say you can't do that? That's the way. That's what we do now. Doesn't matter who you are. Just go run. Good luck to you.
It's pretty wild, man. I have so many different thoughts about this, and it really has nothing to do with the political landscape. I do think you're right. Like, we have seen for years and years, decades and decades, we've seen former athletes get involved with politics, and I know a lot come to mind. But the one that really resonated with me, because I watched him as a kid for the Seattle Seahawks, and I knew the name, and then when I saw him in politics, I guess it was just around that age where I could understand what was going on. I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. I guess this does happen. But Steve Largent, who played for the Seattle Seahawks for a long time, he got into politics. I think Steve Kemp was another name that got, again, the list goes longer than you would even imagine if you're not familiar with it. So Jesse Ventura is a great example. I mean, people probably thought that was like, what? Arnold Schwarzenegger, by the way, is another one. I mean,
yeah.
Reagan was an actor, wasn't he, before?
Reagan was an actor for sure. Arnold couldn't even pronounce California, still became the guy. I mean, it's fantastic, man. It's really the American dream, I guess.
It is the American dream. The chat says Herschel Walker. Yeah, I mean, that's most recently. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess should this be as outlandish as we think, or is it outlandish because Aaron Rodgers has been this hot button issue? And, oh, by the way, he's due to make like $50 million this year to play quarterback in the NFL.
So it's not outlandish to fathom because it seems like a guy who, is a little involved in politics and, his opinions of what's right, what's wrong. I mean, we saw that with COVID and everything, obviously, of his opinions about that. To me, it's outlandish, though, when you talk about you're still the quarterback of the New York Jets, right? So, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. If you wanna become vice president or president one day, hey, more power to you, man. That's your right to do. Best of luck to you. But you can't do that when you're still the quarterback of an NFL team. I don't know, how you think that workload's just gonna go hand in hand and you can handle it, because nobody can. A quarterback, Brent's a full-time job, duh. Now you're going to try to, help run the country? Come on. Stop.
You know what's interesting? So this is what fascinates me. The quarterback position, by the way, we often say is a CEO, right? CEO position. So, it's this leader of men and things like that. So I'm not trying to make the case for Aaron Rodgers here. I'm just saying, if Peyton Manning were to run for politics, get involved in politics someday, I don't think that seems far-fetched in our minds. I think, the responsibility those guys have in today's landscape of sports and their organizations, the amount of money and attention and everything that goes, they're usually pretty good speakers in front of a microphone. There are actually some traits here that could add up. Again, take the political views out. Take the political views out, right? I'm not going down that road. But
sure.
I just think, is it that far-fetched? But the other thing that gets me, actually my mind thinking the most, Austin, is I always go back to this thing, and we've said it several times on our show. When we were kids in elementary school, people would be like, teacher always asked you at 3rd and 4th grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? And some people would be like, hey, I want to be a Major League Baseball player, right? I want to be in the NFL. And a lot of kids would be like, I want to be president of the United States. All right, well, nobody says that anymore. Kids don't seem to say that anymore. And the bottom line is, when you're a professional athlete now, and if you're a big-time professional athlete, you are huge. It's massive. Aaron Rodgers, the LeBron Jameses of the world, right? The Patrick Mahomes. You have so much power, so much attention in today's sports world. These guys are some of the biggest figures, not only in their states, in the United States, but globally. A lot of these guys are huge figures in the sports world. I just think even the idea of this conversation shows that the forum that he chose to say whatever he said over these last couple of years, coming out of the pandemic, was that big of a voice, and that his stature was so big in the world of sports that this would even be entertained at this current time. And I don't know if that's going to stop. I think we're looking at sports figures as some of the most powerful people right now on the planet when it comes to making money, when it comes to messaging, and when it comes to power of what they can do with the future of their brands. And I think that's why these guys are now so good at being businessmen. I mean, LeBron James is a great basketball player. He's also a really good businessman and has a ton of ventures. So I just think that's the current state, man. But it's eye-popping to really think about it in that lens. Sports is bigger than ever, especially when you get to that kind of category of a star.
Brent, I'm going to ask this question for you just so I can hear the complaints in the chats and on Twitter saying, whoa, must be a slow sports day today. But I'm going to ask this anyways. If you can pick one quarterback right now to be president, who you picking?
Yeah, that's a good. I was thinking that too. I'm like, okay, so where else could our mind go, right? In terms of who else would you take? I mean, the campaign slogan for Russell Wilson would be "Let's ride."
I'm telling you right now, we are not getting Russell Wilson as president.
Oh man,
no, absolutely.
I know,
not.
that's just thinking campaign slogans.
I'm
like,
drawing the line.
Campaign slogan.
Okay.
I gotta go with Kirk. Just like Rude Dog in the chat.
Hamby couldn't resist. Had to go this long without talking about Kirk Cousins, had we? So you think Kirk Cousins is gonna invent a bill and go, "You like that?" Come on.
That would be pretty sick.
Guy's too much of a hothead. There's no way. No.
The question might be, like, the other guys in the Jets locker room, like Tyrod Taylor just got signed. What do you think he's thinking when he walks into that locker room for the first time? Oh, I got to watch the way I speak to this guy. He might be the vice president one day. Like a rookie receiver gets drafted. Oh, I got to be so careful about what I say to Aaron.
I'm trying to be friends with him for real, yeah.
You know, I got to suck up because this guy might be the vice. He might, like, that's insane.
I like your question. I just don't want to have a flippant answer here, right? So
yeah, I hear you. Well, you said Russell Wilson, and you ruined it.
Well, okay, I did have a flippant answer. So I'll get away from that. Golly, man, what's presidential? Like the most popular player in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. But
Daniel Jones would trip on the podium. He'd embarrass our entire country. He already embarrasses his city that he plays in. You want him to embarrass the entire country now? What are you doing, Hamby?
I just wanted to kind of softball him.
He did trip over the 10-yard line. So
yeah, you guys want to make memes of Joe Biden falling off an airplane? Imagine Daniel Jones
or Mac Jones.
Well, hey, to be fair with Mac Jones, the way Mac Jones ran to the podium when he got drafted was very presidential. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think, God, I don't think there's a good answer here. By the way, I don't. There's nothing that I fall in love with. You know what's interesting to me, because I feel like my mind goes to like a guy like Tua.
Really? Okay.
Seems like salt of the earth guy, which doesn't make him a politician, probably.
No, it makes him the exact opposite. Running for the Green Party, Tua Tagovailoa.
But I don't know, mate. Why you have an obvious one in here? Because
I have one.
My mind goes to like Dan. Can we make Dan Campbell president?
Sure. I love that.
What do you got?
See, to me, being presidential, it's all about image, right? It's all about how you come across. Sometimes cocky, sometimes your image and your style getting lost really in what the numbers say. I'm taking Joe Burrow. I mean, smoking cigars in the locker room, turtlenecks, rocking the shades. Like, dude, I don't care about your policy. You look good. You seem confident. Give me a Joe Burrow, please.
When I see Joe Burrow, I think he's more a Secret Service agent than he is president.
Well, there you go. You're scared of him, though, right?
It's the glasses, and like I could see him in the turtleneck with the suit on or something. You know, like that's why I got him as a Secret Service agent instead.
Put Gardner
I don't even
in
know
there.
If there's a player, by the way. Yeah, I thought about Gardner as a fun one, right? I mean, if you're going to go crazy, why don't you go? But is there a player in the National Football League, forget about quarterback, that you would think maybe has that kind of juice? We have some great human beings, by the way, in the National Football League. The Walter Payton Man of the Year Award has certainly, lent us to some of those stories. I mean, there are guys that are scholars and also doing so much for the community and making the world a better place type of people. Obviously, we know Calais Campbell won that award, and we think the world of him. So, I mean, I do think you really have those kind of human beings that you'd almost be able to support on a human level, forget about a football player level, as a leader.
No, I mean, I think Calais is a great example. I mean, Calais, honestly, and this is wholeheartedly speaking here, he should get into some sort of like, I don't know whether it's like mayor or like just running for a house, because like I think the guy does have that skill set. I think he loves giving back. I mean, obviously his size and stature helps as well because he's very recognizable. But I think he would have a great gig in that. One more quarterback, Brent, I want to bring up to you real quick, and we can move on here. What about Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, I
Yeah,
definitely thought you were going to
about
say
it, but I
Dobbs.
don't know.
Wyoming, you know.
Oh, Josh
Middle of
Dobbs. There you
nowhere.
go.
Dobbs? Yeah.
He's a genius.
He is a genius.
Well, that doesn't take a genius to be president now.
Maybe that's going to disqualify him if he's a genius, yeah.
Let's keep him in NASA.
Roasted. Yeah, let's keep him in NASA. Captain of Space Force? Let's go.
All right, so there's no way this is really going to happen. Do you think, just real quick, if you're, I mean, it seems like Rodgers is really being considered. I don't know how big the story is or how true the story is or how much depth there is to the story. But would you seriously, at his age, for the opportunity to do that, and say you did that, give up playing for the New York Jets to do that?
Oh, there's not a chance. Like, listen, I love doing good for the country and doing good for the community and all this stuff, right? But if you look at, like, the before and after, and this is more of a president than a vice president, I think. Look at the before and after before the president gets, like, elected as the president and then the after as he's walking out. They go through, like, a time warp of, like, 20 years. It just ages you.
Yeah, they do.
Seriously, because it's stressful. It's nonstop. Just like half the side hates you. You can't do anything right. Like I don't want to live that life, man. Like who would want to live that life? Like they always say that the smartest people don't become president because well they're the smartest people and they know. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, man, just play football, please. Just play football.
Yeah. By the way, they do say it ages you. That's why we have now 80-year-olds, so don't have to worry about that. We can't see the difference. No matter who gets elected, we just can't see the difference in age.
Yeah, he looks old as he did. I don't know.
He still looks old.
Still looks old. Yeah.
And by the way, this isn't a D and an R thing. That's for both candidates that are leading the way. Okay, just to clarify. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, Brent, you just wait till. I say, hey, one day, man, if I ever get it on me and I run for some kind of office or president or something like that, I go in there looking like Jason Momoa, come out looking like the Crypt Keeper. Let's go. Can't wait.
Maybe that would be a good look on you. That could be good.
The Crypt Keeper?
Could be advantageous.
Hair falling out. Yeah, let's go, man.
We'll go. How much more can you go with the Momoa look, by the way? Are you going to carry on with him as however old he is, too, or is this going to run out of time?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, I think Momoa's kind of fallen off a little bit. You know, he's putting that dad bod back on. And I'm in fight camp right now. So if Jason Momoa needs like a body double in some action movie, holla at your boy, man. I got you.
We will take a break. We're live at TPC Sawgrass in the Players' Championship. It is a practice round today, and of course, all the tournament play gets underway tomorrow. We got a beautiful backdrop, just a beautiful day. And there you look at some of the fans. They're actually right, not too far from us. It's an autograph zone for the kids, but that's where the players are warming up and practicing. We're on the complete other side of that, but about a good driver, maybe a Scotty Scheffler driver, from where that shot is being taken right now out at the driving range.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey Mike.
Hey Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather gonna be like? I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back to the Players' Championship. TPC Sawgrass, the place to be, as we continue to give you the tour of the course if you haven't been. And you can see, one thing about this is the way this looks, the temperatures, the sky, everything. It's going to look about the same all week. I don't think we're going to get a lot of fluctuation in the weather, just increased amount of temperatures as you get later in the week up into the mid-80s here in Northeast Florida and in Ponte Vedra, but nice little breeze as well. Not too windy, so it should be ideal conditions. I think we're going to see some low scores here at the Players' Championship, although folks are talking about how fast the greens are, so maybe that neutralizes it just a little bit. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, the Brent and Austin Show. Jason Hamby along as well on a Wednesday as we get set to tee it up tomorrow at the Players' Championship. We'll have a story on Scotty Scheffler, world number 1, coming up in just a few moments as well. So we will talk a little bit of golf, but golf mostly the backdrop. We do have our Players' Championship specials every night at 11:15 on CBS 47 and Fox 30. We're out here all day. Make sure you follow us on social media, too. All right, I was getting excited yesterday, Austin, because Houston kind of sat pat. They didn't do a lot to scare us in the early stages of free agency, and then I spoke too soon, because they are the ones that end up with Danielle Hunter on a big 2-year deal. And I'm telling you, Hunter's a really good player. I think this is a good investment for 2 years for Houston. And it is what it is. I mean, we knew they could have the ability to get some good players. We thought maybe a Saquon Barkley and a Christian Wilkins. They get Danielle Hunter. They obviously get Joe Mixon. So they add to what already looks like a pretty good football team. But Hunter is a fantastic player that just entered the AFC South.
Yeah, we're feeling good about it, Brent. We got a little cocky. They weren't really doing anything. We weren't scared. And then all of a sudden, Danielle Hunter comes to town. And, yeah, they have 2 solid bookends. You know, it's a lot like the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. Now they have their form of that. And, listen, when you have 2 solid edge rushers, it can do a lot for you. Like, let me go and ask you this. I think it's kind of a legitimate question. Right now, I'm not saying a couple years down the line, but right now, you taking Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, you taking Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, a fair question. I'm going to try to say this without homering up. I genuinely think this way, okay? I think I'd take the Jags right now. Mm-hmm. I think even this year you can make the case that that Josh Allen is like, boom, going into his prime. I mean, he's 26 years old, right? I mean, he's on the verge of 27. He is ascending player. I think Hunter, you're hoping he can deliver what he's been able to deliver. He's been outstanding. But at his age, you're kind of hoping, okay, is he a guy that's going to be able to do this for another couple of years like some have been able to do it? Or is he going to start to dip a little bit? So I like that idea of it anyway. The resume on Hunter is fantastic. I'll also say this. Trayvon Walker took such a big step in his second year, and especially the second half of the year, that I like where he is right now. And I thought, and please don't take this too far out of context, but for this conversation, I thought Will Anderson was good, but not great last year. And I think he won Defensive Player of the Year because there weren't a lot of other options. You know, a year prior, Sauce Gardner wins hands down. Like, Sauce Gardner impacted the NFL and week to week way more than Will Anderson did. So I'm not trying to – I like him as a player. But I do think we still don't know exactly what he's going to be, how dominant he's going to be. And he might get there. He's off to a good start, of course, with I think he ended up with 7.5 sacks. Maybe it was 8 sacks. But,
7.
But you know, I'm not trying to hammer him, Austin. I'm just saying it wasn't loud, if from my vantage point at least.
No, I hear you. I mean, you can kind of make an argument either way here, and once again, not to really homer up, but I feel like Josh Allen, out of these 4 guys, is probably the most elite right now. I mean, you can't deny a guy comes off a 17.5 sack season. You just can't. So I take advantage of Josh Allen there, and then if you want to go with the young guns and Trayvon Walker against Will Anderson, I think Trayvon Walker, listen, Will Anderson putting 7 sacks his rookie year, if Trayvon Walker did that his rookie year, we would have been celebrating. But what were we saying? Oh, we don't know. Let's see. Well, it obviously worked out well, having 10 sacks last season for Trayvon Walker. I lean towards the Jaguars, but I think it's close. And once again, I think from Houston's standpoint, because they also got the defensive tackle too now, right? They got can't remember that guy's name. They got somebody else too, if I'm not mistaken, at defensive tackle. Besides,
they just got somebody in free agency.
Yeah.
Besides Foley Fatukasi?
Yeah, I thought they got somebody else as well. I'll have to double check that.
But
nonetheless, yeah. Well, when you have 2 bookends, though, it allows you to do a lot of things in Houston.
D'Amico Autry.
Thank you very much. They got D'Amico Autry as well. So
D'Amico Autry, yeah.
Houston got better.
And Khalil Davis.
And having to play, them twice a year, and Trevor Lawrence back there, it does make you a little nervous, as it should. But time will tell.
Yeah, and D'Amico is obviously a very good coach, and he's on the defensive side of the ball, so you figure they're going to be pretty good on that side of the ball for years. Listen, they have a very nice team. I think on paper, I like the moves they've made. I thought they'd be a little more splashy potentially. I said that yesterday, but I'm not saying that was the right way to go. I think the way they've gone is pretty good. And even the Hunter deal to me it's a very good business deal. It's a 2-year thing with a lot of money up front, and it's worth it right now, I think, if you're a Houston Texans fan. So, listen, there's a lot to like. If I was in Houston, to your point, I'd be loving what I have, and especially in this conversation with Hunter and with Will Anderson, I can buy into the upside and the continued really good career of Danielle Hunter. I do think in Jacksonville, though, where you can't win a lot of these conversations over the years, I don't think you're homering up or I'm homering up. I think it makes some sense why you could lean Trayvon and Josh. Josh is going to have to prove that he can do it again to this level. Is he all of a sudden going to become a guy that's going to have 15, 16, 17, 18 sacks a year? Is he in now the TJ Watt, the Myles Garrett category, or did he really just have a banner year in a big-time moment, perfect timing? What do you think about that, Austin, before we get to the Trayvon side of things? Is that who Josh Allen now is? Because like anything else in sports, it's one thing to get there. It's a harder thing to maintain it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has the capability to do that again. I'd be a little more nervous if he had nothing on the other side of him in terms of pass rush capability and teams can just zone in on him. But I don't see that being the case. So not to say, like, hey, next year, Josh Allen, let's go ahead and give him, 18 sacks, 19 sacks. I'm not ready to go there quite yet. But I think now, it's a good sign, the fact that, he's reached a new echelon and he's going to get paid like a top 3 defensive end. So you got to, play like it as well. To me, it reminds me a lot of Shaq Barrett from Tampa Bay. 2019 has 19 and a half sacks. Takes the league by storm. Best pass rusher. I think he wasn't defensive player of the year, but he finished he was close to in that running, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously an all-pro that year as well. His next season, 8 sacks. Took some bit of a regression. The following year, 10 sacks. And then, from there, 3 sacks and 4.5 sacks. So he fell off a lot. And keep in mind that he got the 19.5 sacks his 5th season. So still pretty young in terms of his career, coming into his prime and everything. I don't see Josh Allen falling off like that. I think Josh Allen will remain consistent, and I think we can expect 14, 15 plus sacks a year again. Once again, as long as he can stay healthy, number one, but also a deal gets done in a reasonable time.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Josh that I do like, but I think this is hard. I really do think it's hard to maintain. I think that's when you get paid, when you have a huge year, I think he is motivated to be great. You heard him 2 years ago, not this past year, but 2 years ago in training camp. I remember we're at Episcopal School of Jacksonville. That's where they were having training camp, and he said, I'm going to be, or I want to be, or I am the best defensive player in the NFL. That's what he believes. And if that's his mission, that's his goal, to be great, which takes a different level of commitment, I think he believes that, speaks that, wants to be that. So that's a starting point. I think one thing that he did learn last year is how to be that. And the way he went about his business, I'm telling you, Austin, it was fun to watch. He was as locked in could be. And I think, can you do that again? Is that his new method? Is he going to change it at all? I wouldn't change a thing if I am Josh Allen. From every little bit of how he got ready for the season to every little bit about how he got ready for a game and that whole thing, I think he got it. He found what he needed to be great, and we'll see if he's able to do that again. I think that's an important part of the process for a lot of these guys instead of just mixing it up. But life changes too. Your body changes too. So can he duplicate what he tried to do a year ago? Okay, as for the Trayvon Walker side of this, we are pleased and very happy, I think, in Jacksonville to see Trayvon Walker do what he did last year, to get to double-digit sacks. And again, if you go back to the last 9 games of the year, he was really good, and he started to stack some numbers, which I think is an important thing for Trayvon going forward. What we don't ask a lot about, at least yet, at least we haven't, about Trayvon Walker, is how good is he going to be? What did last year show us? What does last year now give you the confidence that, hey, he's not just this number one pick, Austen, with a bunch of talent and potential. He showed some of that talent and potential, but where's the ceiling? And that's the thing we never really know about a football player, but will we find out soon, and how high is it?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I can see Trayvon Walker having a 14-sack season, 15-sack season. You saw what happens when you put his hand in the dirt and you let him just do one thing, and you don't overload him. I am nervous from the standpoint of they could move him inside, right? He could be more of a 3 technique, which I don't agree with. And listen, Ryan Nielsen knows a lot more about football than I do, right, in terms of X's and O's and everything. So I'll trust Ryan Nielsen. But all I know is sometimes I feel like coaches, they want to overguess themselves and they're too smart for their own good. And when I see a guy who had 10 sacks last season, in his second year, mind you, still young, still growing, still developing, and you want to move him on the inside in a new position because you feel like, we can get some value there, and then get another edge rush on the outside, I think you run the risk of hampering an athlete. Now maybe Trayvon moves inside and he's the next reincarnation of Aaron Donald. Who knows? But what I do know, and these are facts, that when you had him on the outside with his hand in the dirt, he got you 10 sacks. That's the floor, I feel like, right now with Trayvon Walker. Why wouldn't you want to ride that out and see, hey, what can this guy do now with another season of experience with Josh Allen on the same side, on the opposite side of him? And also, oh, by the way, hopefully some better interior pass rush as well. What would that look like?
Yeah, it's a good point. I like what you just said there. Is that his floor? And I'd be okay with that, at least for the time being. And maybe it's even a couple of years away from getting to that 14, 15 sack, standpoint. Look what Josh just did, right? I mean, Josh, you kind of knew it. You saw it brewing. He had it in him. He had 10.5 sacks. Like you knew he could get there, and then takes it to a new level. I don't think we should automatically assume 3.5 to 10 sacks to 15, 16, 17 sacks for Trayvon Walker. I think that's a little bit unfair for a young player. But I do think it showcases what, there's more in the tank most likely for Trayvon, especially with the tandem of him and Josh. But I like what you said about the floor. If the floor starts to become 9.5, 10.5, 11.5 sacks, somewhere in there, that 9 to 11 range, that's okay. And then you get to that next level at some point. I think we've got to be a little bit careful on the outside looking in to say, you have to get to 14 or 15 right now. I don't know if that's the case. I think Josh just showed it. I think other people have shown it. That, hey, sometimes it takes a little bit more time. I gave you guys Chris Jones' numbers earlier in the week. I think it was 2.5 sacks, 7.5 sacks, and then boom, started to be a 13, 14, 15 sack guy each and every season. That position can take a little bit of time to get better and better, and especially the more attention you draw. So it'll be interesting to follow what Trayvon Walker can do. I think what everybody here in Jacksonville now knows about Trayvon is he's a really good football player. Now we just wonder how good of a football player is he going to be in Jacksonville and in the National Football League. All right, let's take a break, Hamby, if we can. Another timeout here from the Players' Championship as we continue to talk a lot about the Jacksonville Jaguars, about the NFL. We wait on the Calvin Ridley front until 4 o'clock today and maybe even beyond. We'll also talk a little bit about golf, including Scotty Scheffler. Stuart Weber will have a story on him. World number one and definitely the favorite to win here at TPC Sawgrass. This is the back entrance, a cool little area they've built, almost Disney-esque, on the backside of the golf course where 16, 17, 18, beyond that, the fan shop. And this is where a lot of folks enter and leave to watch the Players' Championship, and a lot of shopping to be done on the way out of the Players.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Thank you for making Action News Jacks the best in Jacks and Folio's Best of Jacks 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jacks local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
There's the replica hole, the 17th. Everybody get a little swing. I'll tell you what, that hole right there might be harder than the actual 17th hole. It's hard to hit a 35-yard shot and keep it on that green. I'm not kidding. I'd rather take a full shot with a pitching wedge or a 9-iron on the 17th hole for real from 135 yards out. But that's a fun one to obviously highlight the famous 17th Island Green here at TPC Sawgrass. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane. You know what I think we need to do for you, Austin, is find you a favorite golfer.
I mean, I was on Ricky Fowler for a long time. I called him the swagger hound and everything. Even got so drunk at the TPC Sawgrass event the first time I was there back in 2010 because I wanted to play beer pong, and they wouldn't let me do that. But, yeah, I saw Ricky, and I called him a swagger hound. And he's like, he pointed and, winked at me. So I was like, all right, I'm a Ricky Fowler fan now. But then kind of the swagger hound kind of grew up a little bit, and now he's kind of like every other golfer, I feel like. So I don't know, man. I mean, I'd probably go. Who's the dude from Norway? Hovland or Hovland? No, what's his name?
Hovland, yeah, Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland.
Yeah. I'd probably go with him just because shout out to Norway.
You know, it's funny. It's like, again, I know you're not huge golf guy, but I'd be interested to see if you checked out Full Swing, which is the Netflix documentary, which highlights the guys. It's only 6 episodes or something. And last year it came out, and this year it's back. And the reason I bring that up is because I haven't even watched it yet. But, I kind of know these guys, or I know I don't know them from that angle. I probably will watch it. But my buddy back up in Rhode Island, Pat, he's not a golf fan. I mean, sure, maybe he'll tune into the Masters for a couple of holes or something like that because he's a sports fan. But he's not a diehard golf guy and wouldn't be able to name probably 25 guys on the PGA Tour, outside of especially the big names. But he watched it last year. And then he just watched it again, and he won't stop bugging me over the last week about, hey, did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? And he loves Joel Damon, the guy that wears the bucket hat, while he plays. Okay. And Damon's not, so he must come off really well in that documentary because he loves him. He's like, my favorite golfer is Joel Damon. I'm telling you, nobody says that. So until this documentary was done. But it's just funny how things like that can do for the sport. I think they stole the F1 model. F1 did this, Formula One, and I think it really took off and it highlighted their drivers and the personalities and more about them. And again, that's kind of I wouldn't say it's a niche sport, but it isn't a transcendent sport by any means in some parts of the world. Now, other parts of the world, it's huge. And I think golf stole that kind of idea, and they've done it. And it's been successful highlighting some of their players, getting to know some of their players, because my buddy's a great example. So I wonder if you watched it as a guy who, let's be honest, quite frankly, doesn't care about golf much, if it would open your eyes to the sport a little bit more or not.
No, it's wild. You're not the first person that has kind of encouraged me to watch the Full Swing thing. I have some friends back home who aren't the biggest golf fans. They actually golf, they play it, but they don't really watch it or follow it. And they swore by it. And they're like, man, you got to give it a try because, even though you don't like golf, the personalities and everything you'd appreciate. Yeah, maybe. I guess I just have my preconceived notions. All right, hey, we're going to the clubhouse. Here we go. This is my life. I got 3 cars. This is my life. This is me going to the gym, lifting lightweight because I'm a golfer. This is my life. I don't need to see any of that. Now, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's well done. And let's just say I'll put it in the queue next to Ted Lasso and Yellowstone.
It's funny. My buddy did bring it up about. She's like, I love watching rich people live their lives. So that's part of the fun part of the.
Oh, is that what it is?
Stuff for him. It's
I'm not going to watch it. No, forget that then. No, I'm not watching that.
I think the elements of getting on a private jet once in a while, I don't think that's what it's about necessarily. But I think you see some clips of that, and I think he likes that. He actually said, he's like, I love the rich and famous stuff, which he does. He is definitely enamored with that.
Where's the drama in that, though? We're watching these rich guys that golf go on private jets. Where's oh, no, stay tuned. The jet doesn't have any ice in it. My drink's going to be warm. Oh, man, stay tuned. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, probably not a lot of drama there.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'm going to watch it. I haven't seen it, but maybe you should see it and at least for an episode. See if you don't like it after the episode or two. We are going to talk a little bit more about the best player in the world of golf, and that is Scottie Scheffler. He is as dominant, by the way, right now, coming off this weekend because he got the putter going, as when you would remember Tiger Woods in the glory days. He is so good, Scottie Scheffler, from tee to green. His problem has been the putter. So if he putts well, he might be as unbeatable as you can get in golf, at least at the stage, and that doesn't happen very often over the decades and decades on the PGA Tour and in the sport of golf. He's that good striking the ball. He's been that bad putting the ball, but he seemed to figure it out last week at Bay Hill. Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber yesterday had a chance to catch up with Scotty Scheffler and shared a story on world number one and the favorite at the Players' Championship.
If you're looking for a favorite to win the Players' Championship, look no further than the guy who was atop the leaderboard the last time they were here at the stadium course. Of course, Scotty Scheffler, number one golfer in the world, coming off a big win at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He is the odds-on favorite. The only problem is no golfer has ever repeated their championship here at the Players.
You know, it really is, Pete Dye, just kind of genius design where you have to hit all different kinds of shots, and it tests you in a lot of different ways. And that's why I think it's one of the best places we play on tour, just because it really doesn't suit one type of player. And bomb and gouge doesn't really work out here. You kind of got to plot your way around. But then you even have the shorter hitters that plotted around that can struggle here, because you got to hit it exactly where you're looking or you're going to be punished pretty severely out here.
One thing Scheffler has going for him right now, the putting game. It was fantastic down at Bay Hill a week ago, and usually the guy who can putt it pretty well is going to do pretty good here at the Players' Championship.
There he is, Stuart Weber on Scotty Scheffler, and I want to ask you guys this. This is Scotty Scheffler. He's grown a beard since last year when he won the Players' Championship. See, I see Scotty Scheffler, but I see John Rahm. And I don't know if Hamby has the Rahm shot handy. Might have to bounce back and forth there.
Hang on.
Yeah. What do you see, Austin?
All right. Yeah, I mean, same guy. Definitely same guy. It's wild.
It's hard because their build is different, right? So when you get in a full-length shot, it becomes a little trickier. But if you look at just the face.
Yeah. Yeah, weird for sure. Let me ask you this. Like, are beards really a thing in golf?
I think beards are a thing in life right now.
Hey, well, ask the New York Yankees about that. I figured like golf was a little more like, you can't have beards or you can't like do this, but apparently you can.
Well, no, listen, these guys are their own guys too. I mean, I don't think they can make those kind of rules. They are, they can do whatever the heck they want, I think, for the most part. But I know what you're saying.
Brent,
it's been a clean-cut sport.
If somebody untucked their shirt during a golf tournament, they're getting arrested on the spot. Relax.
Hey, Ricky Fowler had the mustache going for a long time.
True.
Johnson Wagner has that crazy mustache. So we've definitely seen facial hair. But I think because it's so hot often where they're playing, they probably stay away from the beard. But, hey, Shane Lowry. Lowry's a big beard guy. He's got a great beard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. No, this is kind of wild, though, going back and forth here. I mean, it is similar. Like, obviously, the body types, you see a little different. It's like like those commercials from like Slim Fast, like the before and after. Like that's kind of what it looks like a little bit. Not the body shame where I go against body shaming people, but I'm just saying like it's evident that one guy's bigger than the other.
Whatever works. It's evident that one guy is bigger than the other.
Yeah, there you go.
And this
Take
also
it for how you want.
It seems like this could also could be a deodorant commercial here too.
Rahm's kind of getting the bad rap here.
Got him.
Hey, that's what happens when you go to Live Golf, man. Take the money and run, and no holds barred, right?
Wait, so Brett, is this you being me because this is like one of those Live Golf guys, right?
Actually, Rahm is gone. Yeah, Rahm's really the latest biggest star to go to Live Golf, and actually Scheffler was very good on that yesterday. He's like, listen, we've had a unified tour over here. We're trying to make it better in golf. If you want to know why there's a splintering, it's the guys that left. Ask them. They're the ones that left. So he was actually pretty vocal about it yesterday. So the golf world's wild right now. But I can't help but think of it. And this probably isn't the greatest shot, and we couldn't find – if you really just take a facial shot of those two guys right now, I'm like, holy cow, Rahm, who's been in the news a lot because of his defection to Live, and Scheffler, who is obviously the number one player in the world right now. I mean, it's pretty fascinating how much I think they kind of look alike with those beards rocking.
Well, and Brent, and during that Scotty Scheffler interview, you know, he mentioned the mad genius, the mad chemist himself, and Pete Dye creating this this course and everything. Did you actually see some of the blueprints or like the renderings of what Pete Dye envisioned for hole number 17 originally?
I think I've seen that before because it's his wife Alice actually that basically poked him to make that an island green. He's like, well, what am I supposed to do with all this? Because he had dug out a bunch of. He needed sand and dirt for the fairways, right? Mm-hmm. And so he had dug out that what now is water, and he was like, okay, what are we going to do with 17 now? And she was the one that said, why don't you just fill it up with water and make it an island green? So I think I've seen some of the I watched a video just a couple of days ago on some of the early moving of dirt and renderings and things, so I probably have seen it. But it's a fascinating deal what they built 42 years ago or 40-something years ago now, and what it's turned into here at TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, just because I saw that story was kind of going around a couple days ago, but I'm sure it's been up there for a while. But yeah, it's wild how essentially, you know, with the advice of his wife and everything, and he was kind of lost what to do at 17, it becomes, you know, one of the most famous holes in all professional golf when it wasn't even really intended to be that. So it's wild how, you know, I don't call it a mistake or anything, but it's wild how something that you didn't even envision becomes such a big staple in the sport of golf.
Yeah, I think what he wanted was that stadium feel around that finishing holes, and he certainly wanted to make that part, but no way they envisioned it would turn into what it is and what it is today. I mean, they had terrific vision for sure on what this course was going to be. Dean Beeman, Pete Dye, but there's just no way. I think one of the biggest elevations of this golf tournament, and I don't know if you get people to agree with me, but I've been saying it since I got here, is HD television. This golf course and courses like Augusta National, with HD TV, Austin, the way it pops, yep. It's a great watch. It's like, I mean, it's a thing of beauty. The bottom line is the grass is so green, the flowers are so vibrant.
I know.
I mean, this pops across your TV, and I think that captures people like it's almost like watching a game in the snow in the NFL. We like NFL, but don't we like a snow game more, right? There's something like aesthetically pleasing to that. So I think the subconscious around places like Augusta and this place, especially with the HD TV and the evolution of technology, I think it's really buoyed this place probably more than anybody would ever give it credit.
No, without a doubt. I mean, obviously, I watched the Masters before on HD TV, and I think not only is it the view, but also just the ambiance of the sound, right? When they're pumping in that bird music, like Indianapolis pumped in that crowd music or crowd noise, it really it tickles all the senses, Brent. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, when you have it in 4K, you know, and then you got some canaries getting blared in or whatever they're pumping in. I don't think hummingbirds really make a sound, set aside from their wings fluttering, but whatever birds they're pumping in there at Augusta, it really completes the total package of all the senses.
Tickles the senses. That is the line of the first couple of hours of the show. Let's take a break here at TPC Sawgrass. We come back from the stadium course, this beautiful stadium course. We will get back to some football talk. The big story today, now 4 hours away, is Calvin Ridley. Will he return to Jacksonville? Are the tea leaves set in motion for him to do that? Or will there be a switch or something already in the works with the Patriots or another team? Still to be determined, although there's a better feeling with each and every hour that passes that Calvin Ridley is going to be back in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform. The practice range here at TPC Sawgrass. One more practice round before the tournament gets underway on Thursday morning. Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh.
Be a part of our community and become a member of a live credit union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years. And they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah. All right.
Make friends. Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Playday campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy.
At the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, I think we're having some audio difficulties here with Brent Martineau. I may have to take over a little bit. Did he turn on his mic? Brent, you there? There we go.
Hey, we got you.
Yeah, didn't have the mic turned on, huh?
No, I had the mic plugged in the whole time. Sounds like Hamby didn't have the mic turned up.
Ooh, man, it's a rough day for Hamby.
We're trying to get Brent's shot right.
Oh, that's not okay. So here's what happened, Brent. Let me go ahead and paint the picture real quick. Hamby goes to me. You have to bring the show back in. Perfect. Done it a million times. I can handle it. So you pop up, you start talking. I'm like, well, okay, I guess Brent's bringing the show back in. Then we couldn't hear anything from you. So actually, I thought it was the mic that was the issue. Didn't know it was a Hamby error. Gotcha.
Listen. It's one against everybody right now out here for me. All right. I figured I would move the shot because I felt like it was getting a little dark. So we're in an aesthetically pleasing business now that we're on the stream and everybody can watch us on the Action News Jax app and on our Action Sports Jax 24/7 network and on all the social medias. So I was like, it's getting a little bit dark back there. Let me come out into the sunlight. So I had to move stuff around a little bit. And the reason why I had to move out of there is, well, you know that Action Sports Jax team that I've been bragging about or not over the last 24 hours? They brought me extra lights, but they didn't bring them out here. So they are in the media center instead of here where we need them. So, anyway, that's what I'm dealing with behind the scenes, Austin. That's why we wanted you back in the studio today, just in case nothing went according to plan.
No, Justin, man, I'm holding it down. And the fact that you're so concerned about bad lighting when we're breaking down what quarterbacks would be the best president is wild to me, man. Trying to be all professional with everything. And some of the things we've been talking about, it's like, man, you can just have a dark screen and let us roll. We're all good.
Yes. You're probably right about that, too. I probably do worry about that stuff a little bit more than I should, but, we're being judged, and I feel critiqued by the people in the industry here, right? So we got to make sure we're looking good and sounding good as much as possible. If Hamby will just turn my volume up.
We got any sunscreen that we can put on that forehead? Brent, you might be in trouble. You might be in trouble in a couple hours.
Get him.
Hamby, watch yourself.
Hey, I'm gonna say is, man,
trying to look out.
Nothing but respect. Hey, Hamby, but you gotta understand, we can't bite the hand that feeds us. Like, someone out of our group's gotta be professional. It damn sure ain't me. And Hamby, you're showing it's not really you either. So it's gotta be Brent Martineau, man, carrying the team right now. So let's show a little respect to the man rocking the sea right now.
Now, to make matters worse over here, I'm watching all these little kids, which is great to see them out at the Players' Championship, and 2 of them have Yankees hats on. No, 3 of them have Yankees hats on. Who let all the Yankees fans into the Players' Championship? What are we doing?
It's a bad look.
Brent, I feel like the Yankees hat's kind of like for sure, but it's one of those things where it's like kind of like the cool hat to wear. I'm sure they're not even Yankees fans by any means. It's just kind of like the cool, I guess, logo to wear nowadays. Hamby, the kids' corner, is that true?
I think it is.
It's absolutely true because of this. Those are the same guys that are also rooting for Duke, the Dallas Cowboys, and probably the LA Lakers.
There you go.
That's a good, that becomes a thing, and that's interesting that you say that. I love seeing that stuff on social media. It is kind of funny. You're like, hey, all the Duke fans are happy with the Yankees making it to the playoffs or something. But do you think, is the world... I think the kids now might be more front runner than ever. And the reason I say that is because they don't even really pick the teams, they pick the star. And so you kind of follow the star around. Like, I know when Ty was a kid, he liked LeBron James. And I wouldn't say he's like a LeBron James fanatic, but he definitely liked LeBron James as he was watching the NBA. Well, during that stretch, it was mostly the Cavs and then the Heat. But he followed LeBron James. So it wasn't necessarily he was a Heat fan or a Cavs fan and now like a Lakers fan, but he is a fan of LeBron. Do you think we were more front runners back in the day, Austin? Or do you think now kids are more front running fans with whatever's popular, and whatever popular becomes so big almost immediately?
No, that's a very interesting question. I think when I was coming up as a young one, it was Ken Griffey Jr., it was Wayne Gretzky, Brett Favre was big, and obviously Michael Jordan being the biggest. But it's funny because, I was a fan of those players, had their posters up in my room and everything, but I was also a fan of those teams because as a kid I felt like in order to be justified, in order to be the best, and for me to cheer for you, you have to win championships, right? Because we're talking about team sports here. So, yeah, I was a fan. I had the Jordan jersey. I had the Griffey, Wheaties box. But I was still a fan of Jay Buhner. I was a fan of Alex Rodriguez, Randy Johnson, Joey Cora, Edgar Martinez. I loved them all because I felt like if that team won, it would justify me being a fan for Ken Griffey. I think nowadays, with fantasy sports and all this stuff, I don't think kids really care as much in terms of the team dynamic of winning. I think it is more of like the superstars. How many Instagram followers do they have? Did you see that celebration? Yada, yada, yada. Kids aren't really talking about, well, he hasn't really won a championship yet or things like that because, let's be honest, you can make an argument and say LeBron James is the best to ever do it. The argument that I make is, well, how is he in finals? How is he in championship games? And I feel like the younger generations, they don't even go to that at all. It's more of like, well, just watch him play. Watch what he can do. So to answer your question, I think the older school approach is more of the team dynamic, and more of the kids' corner new school approach is more of just the singular player itself.
Let's go to the kids' corner. Hamby, what do you think? I mean, you're the youngest guy by far here in this conversation. How does it work? How do you see it working right now? Will you latch on to a team, maybe because of a player? I mean, that's been going on for decades and decades. But will you stay with that team? Or the other side of this is, hey, if let's just say Purdue wins the national title in college basketball this week. Well, all of a sudden, the kids in 5th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, whatever, see that. And now all of a sudden we got a bunch of Purdue Boilermaker fans, which how many of them are there?
I think college basketball is kind of the tough one or the outlier, but I definitely do think that the newer generation is a lot more player-oriented. There's so many people that just follow the players, and I think fantasy sports has a lot to do with that. That for that reason, they'll just kind of watch. Like people would just watch or just get a Bengals Jamar Chase jersey just to watch Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson and stuff like that because they love the player. And the fantasy really is where that's born out of. And I think with social media also, you see a lot more of individual players that you wouldn't necessarily, the older generation wouldn't have seen day in and day out, to where you're kind of seeing a lot more of the stars of the league, especially like NBA, NFL. Not kind of MLB is getting there, I guess. But also you have the fact that now more than ever you can watch any team in any area. And, you know, the older generation was the star teams were always there. And obviously if you go back even to like the 60s, 70s, 80s, like that older generation is all team really because you're watching like baseball-wise, you're watching Cubs and Braves always. You're watching Cowboys and 49ers and stuff like that. Now you watch any team anywhere, anytime. So I think that also plays into the fact that, you know, you're going to get a lot more players.
That's a very astute point by you, Hamby, right there. I really like that. You're right. I think you have so many different ways to get the team that you want to watch. Like, you really couldn't do that. I mean, Austin, you couldn't do that as much when you were growing up. I definitely couldn't do that. And so you probably became more regionalized, or what Hamby's saying is that's how those fan bases grow because they're always on, like the Super Bowl, the playoffs, or whatever. You're watching those kind of teams. I mean, I know I became a Miami Dolphins fan, Dan Marino fan, when I was 7 years old because I saw him in the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers. Like, that is how I remember becoming a Miami Dolphins fan. On top of that, like, the Patriots were blacked out on TV all the time, so they were never shown because they stunk and they couldn't sell the place out. So I got a lot of Miami Dolphins games on. Like, really, that's how I became a Dolphins fan and a Dan Marino fan. I could see him, or I could see Steve Grogan and Tony Eason in the New England Patriots. So that is a different animal right now. Yeah, I mean, that's really a good point. The other part this plays into, which I think is fascinating, Austin, we talk about this all the time with today's players. Selfish, they're worried about their brand, they're worried about themselves. Is it team-oriented? I think what you guys just mentioned about kids watching sports and everything else, like, and we say this, and Hamby coaches 14U team. And if you talk about coaches in general, they'll say, hey, the kids are more selfish. Look what Nick Saban just did on Capitol Hill this week, right? Hey, it's NIL, like it's selfish. You know what? You're absolutely right. It is selfish. But we're the ones that have fed into, not we, but the whole system has fed into a world that preaches selfishness, preaches branding. And even just the simplicity, and this is nobody's fault. I'm not even blaming anybody. It's nobody's fault that fantasy football has become such a big thing. But think about the domino effect of fantasy football. Exactly what you guys just said. I become a fan of my fantasy football team. I become a fan of Jamar Chase and Patrick Mahomes and guys like that help my fantasy football team out. So you don't think team. You're thinking about yourself on a given Sunday and hoping to beat your buddy. And then also, you can be a fan of 8 different players from 8 different teams because they're helping you win. So I just think there's this like subtle, subconscious feeder of selfishness that has kind of invaded our sports world to begin with. I don't even think it's anybody's fault. I think it's just the business of sports and even to a lesser degree, just this simple game of fantasy football that has kind of changed the way we view things. And again, like Hamby said, the ability to get it at any time, anywhere. You can watch Gonzaga every game if you're a big Gonzaga fan.
Yeah, I mean, and I think to kind of echo what Hamby was saying a little bit in the kids' corner, it's about the access, right? Like, when I was growing up, I mean, basketball was still basketball, right? Like, you still had your stars. They had their sneakers, their pro models, everything like that. I mean, you had the Jordans. When you had baseball and Ken Griffey Jr., like, he was really the first player that had his, like, pro model shoe. And, like, that was kind of in its infancy. But, like, once again, it's a sport of baseball where sometimes personality can show. It's not like football where you can hide behind your pads and your helmet. But when we started seeing a little more behind the scenes, when we started keying more on interviews, and obviously when social media became a thing, NFL players started getting more personality. Like, to me, when I was a kid, I didn't really care about personality. I cared about what I saw on the field. And I think an entire generation of kids would say, hey, Michael Vick was that guy, not because I knew him as a person or what he said in an interview, because of what he did on the field. He was the cover of Madden. He had his own pro shoe, things like that. As we progress now and as we get more towards this social media era where it's like all access, essentially players can be their own reporters, players can show whatever they want to show. Well, now it's like, all right, pick and choose which guy you want to be with, right? And I think when you can pick and choose based off of their social media, based off of interviews, that kind of takes away from the team dynamic a little bit because now you have so much more choice in terms of, well, I like this guy. This guy stands for this. I want to be on this guy's team. Things like that. And you're less concerned about the team and more concerned about what that guy brings to the table.
And I think LeBron also single-handedly did this because, you know, or it was a huge part of this because, you know, LeBron's on the Cavs, then he goes to the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now he goes back to the Heat, or to the Cavs, now to the Lakers. You have so many out of that people because they just want to watch LeBron. They stopped being Cavs fans or they stopped watching their team and they just became, I'm a LeBron fan. Where he goes, I go. And now you have a lot of people, that you know, that's 10 plus years ago now. You have a lot of people who will stick to that player and wherever they go, they will go. And LeBron was the really huge start of that.
No, that's a great point, man. Because I remember when Jordan went to Washington, good luck.
Right.
I can't come with you. Hey, what's up, Allen Iverson?
By the way, is on fire. Hempy's on fire right now. I think it is a good point. Like, again, I'll go back to my fandom for the Dolphins. And what I learned in 1999 when Dan Marino retired is I actually was a fan of him, not the Dolphins. I thought for 15 years I was a Dolphins fan. But that's because he played for the Dolphins for 15 years. And I think that's really what changes. I don't know what the average is. But if you even take a player that plays for 15 years, even if he's a good player, it's got to be over 2 teams on average that player will play for across all sports. And so you're not even tied to the team for the length of their career, or in many respects, not even 2 teams that you can root for such players. So I think there's just, again, nobody's fault here. I just think it's a fascinating look at how sports has changed, our fandom has changed, what kids are looking into, and everything else. And I'll give you one more element of this, and it's really got to do with where we are at the Players' Championship, TPC, Sawgrass, and golf. Tiger Woods obviously was somebody that everybody across transcended sports. You either liked them or you didn't. So there's a lot of different ways to go there, polarizing figure, but his fandom was massive across the globe. I think that's why what you guys just said about the NFL, we have fans. I think in soccer across the world, you have star players that you have fans, you can be fans of. NBA, a ton of different stars you can be fans of. I think that's the problem right now in a sport like golf. Who is going to be the next Tiger? Who's going to transcend it? Who can you latch onto? The best player in the world right now is Scotty Scheffler. We talked about this yesterday. Does he have the personality to transcend the sport, to get a bunch of people wearing whatever Scotty's wearing? Probably not. You look at NASCAR right now. Is there enough of that? Is there a star that people can grip onto? And so I guess even like on a bigger scale, can a sport not survive, but can it be as popular as it needs to be or wants to be if you don't have a mega star? And I think the way people are viewing sports, consuming sports, and kids are attracted to sports, I don't know if you can. I think you need a mega star or maybe many of them to be able to have this mega sport that is worldwide as big as it's ever been, like the NFL, NBA, and I think to some degree Major League Baseball, but I think that's even been a Major League Baseball problem. There are a lot of stars, but not many that transcend the sport.
Brent, coming directly from the Austen Lane branding agency, I love the brand athletes, help them out a lot. Scotty Scheffler, the number one golfer in golf, in the PGA right now, whatever you want to say. Do you think he would benefit if he changed his name to Scott? Because I hear Scotty, I think of like a little kid. It'd be like if your name was Tim, is it Tim Scheffler or is it Timmy Scheffler? Like I hear Scotty Scheffler. Like I can't take Scotty seriously.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to think of it as in like a tough guy sport because I get like the perception of golf.
Yeah.
So let's just take it in UFC. Like,
Okay.
give me like, is there somebody that you would say something similar to about their name that kind of
With their
sounds
name?
like, hey, they're still calling? Because I think it can be kind of cool in like a boxing or a tough sport kind of thing. It's like,
Okay, well,
hey,
so-
there's still like some Irish Catholic family still calling Shawnee or something.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, like, look at okay, the baddest dude to ever do it, John Jones. You're not calling him Johnny Jones.
Yeah. Well, I know there are examples of the way you're saying it. I'm just wondering if there's an example of
there's an example
a big
where-
name
okay.
that they are like a kind of a kid's name. Because I get your point. I think it's an interesting point. Now, I'm not going to ask Scotty Scheffler to change his name, but I get your point. I mean, listen. This
Brent
is
at the press conference?
This is part of the whole package for Tiger Woods, Austin. Can you imagine if Tiger all his life was never called Tiger and he was called Eldrick?
Yeah.
How about Robbie Lawler?
Yeah, that's a good point. Robbie Lawler is a good one, Brent. Rob Lawler.
Yeah, I mean,
Now
I think
there's-
that fits. Yeah.
But no, Brent, you're not wrong. Like
That's
Tiger
an
Woods.
interesting view. It's an interesting view.
Or Donald Cerrone?
Yeah. Don Cerrone.
I mean, the
Don
guy that
Cerrone sounds kind of tough though, man. That's like Don Cerrone.
the guy that probably benefited
That's the
the
Cerrone
name.
part of it.
Yeah,
True.
The guy that probably benefited the most in history of the UFC from the name change is Rampage Jackson because his first name is Quentin.
Yeah, Quentin sounds good though. Quentin Jackson. I mean, Quentin Rampage is obviously Rampage is where it's at, but like, I'm not mad at Quentin. But no, Brent, to echo your point with Tiger Woods, like, I think it was the perfect storm, right? Like, you had the name, you had the look, you were, a minority that it was kind of unheard of, at least from my childhood. I'm like, oh wow, there's a black golfer, insane. And then to be on top of it, you're the best in the world. Like, you will probably never see that again, man, because it was the perfect storm of everything. Everything just kind of fell into place, and that's why he is who he is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I don't think we can see it again because I don't know what you can do to surprise us or change a culture or change a perception. I mean, the bottom line is, like you're saying, he was iconic in his game, but iconic in his look and being a minority and new to the game, he stood out, right? I mean, in a golf world full of white golfers. So there's a bunch of that. And again, I think the name goes along, the perfect storm. You're right. Like the name even goes into it. And I'll give you one more element, Austin. The fact that the polarization is even born like when he's born. He was a 2-year-old golfer that's on national TV and his dad's training him to be a pro golfer at the age of 2.
Yeah.
That is seriously, that was viewed as, what is he doing? Like, what are we doing? We're ruining the kid or this or that. Like, I know my mom still looks at it that way, right? So there was why should be that dedicated to one thing, one sport? Why isn't he well-rounded? Like, we preach people being well-rounded, kids being well-rounded. Well, look where the world has gone. That, too, is the norm. Like, specialization is the norm. Like, there's nothing that surprising anymore if you take a 4 or 5-year-old kid and dedicate him to a craft of tennis, golf, baseball, volleyball, whatever it is. Like, that is not an outlier. For Tiger, I think, as public as it was, and with everything else in that perfect storm that you talked about, it was an outlier at the time. Even if it was being done in the hockey world, which is really where it started, I think, and maybe in the tennis world and individual sport world for years and years, this one took to the forefront. People started to talk about it because he was on national TV as a 2-year-old, which became cute, but then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, does this kid do anything else other than play golf?
Yeah. No, it's true, and it begs the question of specialization and everything. And like, You know, if you looked at how Tiger Woods, like, listen, I've never met Tiger Woods before. Obviously, grew up a fan and everything. You know, he's had his own trials and tribulations. You know, did he need maybe more of a well-rounded childhood to benefit him? I mean, I don't know, man. I think he turned out okay. I know he had his mistakes and he did some bad things, but he's human. I think a lot of us do some, you know, mistakes and we learn from them. But overall, in terms of that 2-year-old kid that you saw, I mean, I think he'd be the first one to tell you it all worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, that came with a lot of pressure and a lot of other things, and yeah, unless you have to live that out in the public eye because of it. So that's kind of the good and bad of fame, and probably the good and bad of everything that involves Tiger Woods. But it wasn't ever going to be all good if you're going to be that iconic. That's just probably the way it had to work out, and it maybe even continues to work out. But we have watched this human being almost from day one. You know, as a national kind of figure person, which is pretty wild. And he might have been like the first one to really do that. You know, we watched Ken Griffey Jr. when he was maybe a bat boy. People mentioned him. Oh, that's cute. But then we didn't see him again until he was like 18, you know?
Correct.
I mean, I mean, Tiger is really, like, if you really wanted to deep dive into the psychology of sports, the change of sports, we just identified like 5 or 6, 7 maybe different things. I mean, he is a fascinating study at where we were maybe, I don't know, 35 years ago in sports on all levels to where we are now in sports and society and everything else. I mean, it's an incredible story, and one that doesn't always have the positive spin to it. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything, which probably also makes it an incredible story. All right, when we get back, let's talk more football. Where are we on the Calvin Ridley front? What are the Jags going to do? Things have quieted down. Where do they stand on this? There are some reports out there that the Jags have had one of the best free agency sessions of the last few days. They have made themselves better than maybe any other team in the National Football League. Do you agree with that? Well, we'll talk about it on the Brent Austen Show. You can find us on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, on the Action News Jacks app, on actionnewsjacks.com. You can see us from the living room. All you got to do is download the Action News Jacks Now app on Roku and Google TV and Apple Plus or Apple TV and all the rest of them. We'll be back taking you until 1 o'clock here on a Wednesday, live from the Players' Championship and TPC Sawgrass.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to Brent and Austin Show on our Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Half hour to go. Take it until 1 o'clock. Actually, less than a half hour now. Time is flying by here on a Wednesday at the Players. 4 o'clock deadline. Well, 4 o'clock deadline. 4 o'clock is really the hour to watch in the new league year for the NFL. And all eyes on Jacksonville. Will Calvin Ridley re-sign with the Jaguars? Will he go to another team? Why is he waiting so long? What's on the table? All those questions have us curious about what's going to transpire with Calvin Ridley. But there seems to be a very good chance that he could end up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mitch Morse, by the way, signed his contract this morning and introduced to the media. So he's glad to be in Jacksonville, says he wants to win a championship. Part of the motivation for him to come back to Jacksonville was to be with Doug Peterson, who was the offensive coordinator in Kansas City when Morse was there before he went to the Buffalo Bills, made a Pro Bowl in 2022. So Mitch Morse, really one of the big signings for the Jags. I think that's the one that started to flip the fan base a little bit on what was going on. At least they upgraded the center position where they're bringing most everybody else back on the offensive line. The Jaguars have added Mac Jones via a trade as a backup quarterback. They've obviously added Gabe Davis. They had Ronald Darby as well. Darnell Savage, that's a corner and a safety. Caleb Johnson is coming back, special teamer and a linebacker, which I thought there was word that he wasn't coming back, but he signed today too with the Jaguars. They brought back Jeremiah Ledbetter. Ezra Cleveland, also left guard, another big signing. So Jackson made a bunch of moves over the last week, and we wait to see if Ridley is the exclamation point on this free agency session for Trent Baalke, who, if he's able to bring Calvin Ridley back, is going to come up looking really good. And that has, not been a thing at least in the eyes of Jags fans over these last couple of years. Brent Martineau and Austen Lane. I just said all that, Austin. And what does that mean in terms of how much better the Jaguars are now than they were maybe a week ago before they franchise tagged Josh Allen? The rest of the league around the country is giving the Jags pretty good reviews. And I think I saw one publication say they are the second best in making themselves better in free agency amongst the 32 teams in the National Football League.
Interesting. Do you know who the first team was? I kind of put you on the spot there, obviously. But
I did not see that, and I'm trying to think who could it be. Maybe like the Giants, or
Giants.
I don't know who it would be.
Yeah, maybe you could see Houston. I don't hate giving them the credit, but like Houston got Okudah, Autry. Obviously, they got Daniel Hunter. They got Joe Mixon at running back. You can maybe argue Houston.
How about the Panthers? Panthers go protect Bryce Young. They also get Deontay Johnson in a trade. Maybe they could, and of course they had the most ground to gain because they were so bad a year ago.
I mean, yeah, Brent, the bar was pretty low here. I mean, it was a limbo for the Carolina Panthers, and congratulations, you made some moves you needed to. Speaking of moves, real quick, Adam Schefter reporting that Ravens are sending starting right tackle Morgan Moses to the New York Jets as part of a pick swap per sources. So the trade is the Jets receive Moses and a 4th-round pick, number 134 overall, and the Ravens receive the 4th-round pick, number 112, and a 6th-round pick. So obviously the New York Jets taking care of their so the New York Jets taking care of their right tackle issues and hopefully going to keep Aaron Rodgers upright this up-and-coming season.
So simply put, in I guess a very short way to say it, how much better are the Jags this week than they were last Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, over the last 10 days?
For sure. I think they're a lot better. They're better at center, which was a glaring hole, a glaring weakness. I think the entire fan base would agree with that. You bring in Mitch Morse now, and one could hope that he comes in, you do a great interview, you meet with him, and we never talk about you again unless you're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, right? Because that's how centers and that's offensive linemen work. I mean, you don't really get a lot of love, but you get a lot of scrutiny if you aren't doing your job well. So if Mitch Morse can go out there and never hear from you again, man, more power to you. It means you're doing your job to the best of your ability. In terms of Calvin Ridley, time will tell. It's looking promising for Calvin Ridley. If that's the case, you like him coming back. And then on the defensive side of the ball, some moves that might have been a little surprising in terms of bringing, Darnell Savage. What's the plan with Antonio Johnson? You bring in Ronald Darby as well. Listen, we may not see the plan right now of how this is all going to shake out, but I like that you have options. I like there could be competition, and I like that there's options, especially keep in mind with a guy with Ryan Nielsen who will probably breed some competition but also get the best out of his players as well.
Yeah, it's. I think the Jags are a lot better. I think the question is, can they get? Is it just going to be marginally better through the draft, or can they get much better again in late April? And I'm not asking about the confidence issue and what the Jags can do. I'm just saying now with what you know about their roster, Austin, and the way it's built and what they have, and you can almost pencil in, again, we'll see what happens with Ridley, but let's assume for a moment he comes back. You can pencil in their offense. You can pencil a lot in on their defense. Like, how much better are they going to get in this year's draft than they are right now?
Well, if you can keep that 2nd-round pick, I mean, obviously, I think you have to shore up your interior defensive line. You can shore up some edge rushing as well, depending on what you do with Trayvon Walker. There's still moves to be made. It's not a complete team yet. I mean, do you still address the cornerback position? There's still some things that maybe we can talk about. And obviously, too, with Cam Robinson, Walker Little, well, how's that going to all pan out? So there's still some things going forward. They can get monumentally better in the draft. If you can draft the best defensive tackle, if you can somehow draft the best edge rusher, that's going to make you that much better. So, yeah, I think there's still room for growth here. I think there's still room for Trent Baalke to either be a savior or, to bring back out the clown emojis. I know right now the Trent Baalke stock's at an all-time high. It seems like, at least. But you still got to do your thing in the draft as well, sir.
Okay, well, yeah, absolutely he does, and that's part of it. And by the way, that's not just for this year. See, the draft isn't just for this year. The draft is for the next couple of years and replacing some salaries. And when you give your quarterback a huge extension to make the dollars work and still be a good football team. So the draft has a ton of ramifications down the road. So I'm not taking any of the importance away. But I guess what I'm asking is, like, did they have anything to fix in the draft, Austin? Or is it just, hey, let's hope there's an upgrade or two? Because I felt like that's where they were last year, honestly. They had 21 out of 22 starters basically penciled in. They did get a right tackle and obviously lost Jawan Taylor. But outside of that, everything was kind of a depth play that I never thought initially was even going to make a major impact on their football team to begin with. Now, Anton Harrison did. Nobody else did in that draft. But I really wasn't expecting many to make a major impact. So is this fix or upgrade part of the draft in April?
No, I think you got to feel like if they go interior defensive line in the first round, that guy's playing day one, or at least in the rotation. So, cornerback, I think you can make an argument for as well. But to me, it comes down to interior defensive line. Edge, we'll see if they move Trayvon Walker down. Then you could have a starting edge as well you get in the draft. But to me, it comes down to edge, but especially interior defensive line right now where they sit.
All right, see, you're hitting on something. I don't think people are talking about this enough in Jacksonville right now. I think I still see people saying, hey, maybe wide receiver, hey, more offensive linemen, corners. Like, I get it. Defensive tackle, by the way, I do think is a need. I really don't think – we spent some time on this yesterday. We just spent some time talking about the stock of Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, which is really good. But the bottom line is they don't have enough at pass rusher, man. I mean, they need to get a lot better at edge in totality. You want 8 guys on that defensive front that can impact the football game, give guys a rest. You take one rotation in your hockey line, you change it to the other one, and you don't lose that much. Like, that's what you have to be able to do. The crazy thing is they've got guys like Devon Hamilton, and they do have Roy Robertson-Harris who can help you on the inside and add to your depth there. So even if you do get a starter and an impact player at defensive tackle, I feel like the depth's pretty good. They have no depth right now at pass rusher. I mean, I believe this has gone to the top of their chart. With maybe that number 17 pick, and especially in the second round, that they need to get more help in the pass rushing department, even though they have 2 standouts.
Yeah, I think it's quiet in terms of the edge rusher just because, people are going to go, well, you have Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, right? So, like, what more do you need? But especially at such a premium position, that's not how it works. Like, you have to get your extra guys in there. Let me ask you this, Brent, and I get, like, let's call a spade here. It starts with the edge and it goes inside. Like, I get, like, the game's won and lost in the trenches. It's the most cliche thing ever. But, like, there's a reason why edge rushers make what they make. And usually, unless you're a Chris Jones or Aaron Donald, defensive tackles make what they make. Would you rather see them in the first round get that edge? Get that sure thing, maybe the best overall pass rusher in the draft? Or would you rather them shore up the interior defensive line and get a 3 technique?
I think if I knew there was a stud at 17, I would agree with what you said that they could impact probably more at defensive tackle. I don't know if there is that kind of stud. I know Byron Murphy and guys like that. I don't know if they are studs at 17. There's a difference between picking that guy in like number 6 or 7 if he's that good, and then picking him at 17, in my opinion. I think they are going to need more out of the pass rush. Again, they have bodies that are, I think, capable of getting better. They have big money tied to those interior players that just need to perform better, quite frankly. I think they don't have much at all behind Trayvon and Josh, and they are going to need it. Like, you need 3 or 4 pass rushers. I mean, you probably need 4, and maybe even a 5th, but you need those guys. And the way they were rumored to be thinking about Hunter at one time in the offseason, and maybe even a guy like Brian Burns, I just can't help but think that Ryan Nielsen wants to do more with Trayvon Walker. Whether we agree or not, I think he wants to. And so, I'm sitting here, and maybe it's too premature to say this, but I think right now the premium position for them is actually pass rusher, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from. Once again, you can move Trayvon inside, and I get that. I go back and forth with that, Brent. I also go, I mean, interior you get away with a little more because you're not expecting your interior to provide, 12, 13 sacks a season, right? So you can get away with a little more with getting some players that are better run stoppers. But we've seen what happens when you get a dominant balling out like interior defensive linemen, and those are rare. And I'm not sure if one of those guys are going to be in the draft. I'm not sure if I'm ready to call any of these guys a Chris Jones or an Aaron Donald. But I'm just saying, if you think there's a possibility of getting one of those guys, pairing them with Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen on the outside, I mean, man, that's going to make your defense such a fun thing to watch. And maybe you address, edge in the second round. And to me, this is why it's so important that this Calvin Ridley thing gets done. Because once again, knock on wood, speaking the worst into existence, say he does go to the Patriots. Say he does go someplace else. Well, then it opens up the fact of, hey, maybe a wide receiver can drop to you at 17 as well, and then do you pull the trigger on that?
Would you be surprised, though, if they sorry,
go ahead, Amby.
Would you be surprised if they bring back a guy like Calvin Chase on just for that depth reason?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could because they know him. It'll be a very cheap thing, but I'm thinking still that's like your fourth or fifth option. I'm going to get there in a moment, but let's just finish up what Austin said. I think you're right, Austin. If they don't have Calvin Ridley, I think receiver becomes a high priority. I think even with Ridley, I wouldn't mind seeing an early receiver, but probably not in the first round and maybe not even in the second round. I just don't mind the investment in a young receiver over these next couple of years because sooner or later you're going to run out of these guys that are veterans and on big contracts. But I think Chason maybe makes a little sense. It's not going to come with any fanfare. It's not going to make you feel better. The third guy is really important. See, I think we think of pass rushers and we think of two. And right now we're talking about Hunter and Anderson in Houston. We're talking about Allen and Trayvon here in Jacksonville. But Austin, shouldn't we be thinking about it as three? Like, who's in that lightning package? Who's in that NASCAR package? Who's in that like third down situation where we know it's passing? Who's the third guy in on that pass rush that's going to make you dynamic and make you really good? And keep in mind, like, you're in that kind of defense a lot nowadays in the NFL with all the passing.
No, without a doubt, and especially like I'm trying to think of some of the past. Who's I'm drawing the blank on the name. The guy that went to Tennessee Titans this past season from the Jaguars.
Arden
Key. Yeah. I mean, Arden Key is a classic example of that in terms of like, did the numbers really blow you away? Not necessarily. And he was kind of like that third guy in the rotation. But guess what? He did make a difference. He brought a lot to the locker room. Now, I think he would tell you that he changed the city of Jacksonville. I'm not ready to call it that. But he did make a difference. But he did make a difference in terms of what he brought out there, as a third edge rusher. So, yeah, to prove your point, that might have been lacking a little bit this past season in terms of who was that third guy, right? Like, Smoot was, came in when he came in, but he was a little banged up to start the season out. So I agree with you. I think that you should have three guys. You should have those NASCAR packages. You should put a premium at that position. My only argument is the fact that if you can get a dominant three technique who can do both, stop the run and also get after the pass rusher, you can't pass that up though either.
Well, here's a couple of ideas, too, by the way. Roy Robertson-Harris might be able to sneak in and help you in that little role as well. I don't think it's ideal of what we're talking about. And you do wonder, will they slide Devin Lloyd around into a more pass-rushing situation at times this year? So that will be something to keep an eye on, I would say, with Ryan Nielsen. Who knows the plans for that? And where Devin Lloyd is in this defense that they are going to run. All right, let's take one more time out here from the Players' Championship. It's Brent Austen Show. Again, you can find us on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. The hours tick away, closer and closer, probably 3 hours away now from maybe a Calvin Ridley decision and what happens and transpires there to put a bow on what has been a very good week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But there's also still a possibility it doesn't happen. We'll put a bow on the show when we come back live at TPC Sawgrass. Full coverage of the Players tonight at 11:15 on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like? I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, I think I'm taking over now. Hopefully Brent can respect that. Looks like we're on the is this at TPC, Hamby? I don't know where we are.
Yes, sir.
This is TPC. All right, looks like we're on the practice green here. Don't know any of these golfers at all. I do like the black-on-black swag going from this gentleman here, though. Not sure, once again, who this dude is. but walking with some confidence, walking with a hand in the pocket right now. Listen, I'm not saying I'm upset right now, but you literally want me to bring back the show, and you have me on the putting green at Sawgrass. Like, what more do you want me to do, Hamby? What more miracles do you want me to weave here?
I thought you did a phenomenal job.
Turn up my volume. Maybe turn up my volume. That'll help.
I mean, you're trying to bring me out in the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 0 outs. I mean, what do you want me to do with the putting green at Sawgrass?
He put you on the spot, man. You did a good job with it. All you got to do is go the fashion route. As soon as you do that, you're locked in. I mean, Friday fits early.
Yeah, there we go.
Simple as that. A couple minutes left in the show. All right, let's predict it. What's going to happen today? I mean, is Calvin Ridley back with the Jacksonville Jaguars as soon as 4:01? But it really doesn't matter if it happens at 4:01 as long as it happens at some point.
I'm going to predict Calvin Ridley back, but let's go ahead and put it to like a 7 Eastern start time, I think. I think he's going to try to field a couple more options. Maybe someone sneaks in there, offers him something, but eventually I think it's going to come back to Jacksonville.
How fascinating is this for Calvin Ridley? I think he changed like the banner in his social media yesterday too. I mean, do you think this is fun as a player to just sit and watch, especially if you kind of know what's going to happen, but it can't be announced until later today?
Well, I don't know if it's fun or not because he doesn't like people being the GMs. He thinks everyone's the GM. So he doesn't like that. But, I mean, if I'm a player, yeah, I'm loving sitting back just watching everybody like us trying to speculate what exactly is going to happen. I mean, he's got all the chips right now, man, so enjoy it while you can, and hopefully by 4:01 or a little later, he'll be back in Jacksonville.
I also think if it's a handshake agreement with Balky in the front office and Calvin Ridley, that's still a kind of a tough few hours to wait it out because you never know if you're in the Jags situation if it actually is going to happen until it happens. It's a crazy business. Remember, they had Lutz, the kicker, signed or at least agreed upon, it looked like, and then he changed his mind and went back to Denver. So stay tuned for the Calvin Ridley news this afternoon. We'll have it for you with Action Sports Jacks and more coverage from the Players' Championship, of course, tonight at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock on CBS 47 and Fox 30, and then 11:15 on CBS 47 and Fox 30. It's Action Sports Jacks at the Players. Tournament begins Thursday morning. We'll be here for it for the Brent Austin Show 10 a.m.